Chapter 692. Professor Zhu. Nice to meet you. Li Jinyu stepped forward to receive him. Didn't you say that you would be coming tomorrow? The Research Institute had indeed contacted the production team, but the appointed time was tomorrow. The production team felt that this was not only a good thing for Xianxia, but also a good way to educate the public about history and culture. Hence, they readily agreed. Professor Zhu said in surprise, "Well, I'm the one who can't wait to meet Miss Xiang." The gray-haired old professor next to him spoke up. The old man was old and his back was a little hunched, but his eyes were full of wisdom. "Please forgive me if I've disturbed you in any way. Teacher Ji." Although her memory was a little fuzzy, Xianxia still recognized him. "When I was in university, I had the honor of attending one of your lectures. In the live stream, if you don't understand, just ask. Are these two people very powerful?" Of course. History is the ace major of Nanxing University, and Professor Zhu is the ace professor of the history department. The old man next to him is his PhD advisor, Mr. Ji, who is currently a leading figure in the academic world. Everyone was even more surprised after learning the identities of the two. Such a powerful figure actually asked for Xianxia's advice? Oh my God, just how impressive is Sister E? Due to the sudden visit of Taoist Run, Mr. Ji, and Professor Zhu, the matter of going up the mountain had to be put on hold for the time being. Everyone returned to the living room, where Xianxia personally brewed some tea and sat down obediently on the sofa. Shui sat next to her, and the two of them looked like super straight-A students who were waiting for the teacher to ask them questions. They were calm and composed. Mr. Ji and Professor Zhu were excellent at maintaining their composure. The two of them slowly tasted Xianxia's tea, and their eyes lit up. "Good tea." Taoistron couldn't help but ask, "Xianxia, where did you learn talismans from?" Xianxia naturally couldn't disclose the fact that she had transmigrated, so she casually said, "I don't have a master. I'm just doing my own research for fun." Taoistron didn't continue on this topic, thinking that Xianxia must have had her own opportunities. He immediately praised, "You're really a genius. A genius. Genius." In the cultivation plane, Xianxia had seen too many amazing talisman crafting geniuses. She had always thought that her standard was very average. Now, she was embarrassed by the compliments. "You flatter me." No. These are all words from the bottom of my heart. I've studied talismans for several decades, and I've only scratched the surface. Little friend Xianxia is so young, but she has such accomplishments. If she was in the ancient times, she would definitely be someone who would establish a sect and become an immortal. The bullet screen was filled with laughter. The Taoist priest is too good with words. It is recommended to publish the book on the spot. There are also people who retorted, "Attain the Tao? Aren't you praising him too much? That's too much of an exaggeration. It's obviously self-directed. No, you can become an immortal just by scribbling a few scribbles. This person must have read too many Xianxia novels." At this moment, Professor Zhu said, "Have you heard of the Wuxia civilization?" Shui said, "Are you referring to the ancient Wuxia kingdom? I don't know much about history, and I only know some general knowledge. There are no records of the ancient Wuxia kingdom in history books, but there is currently a school of thought in the academic world that believes that the ancient Wuxia kingdom really existed." That's right. Mr. G's voice was loud like a bell. At the mention of academics, his entire aura seemed to have changed. There is currently a lack of evidence to prove the existence of the ancient Wuxia kingdom, but I think that Miss Xiang's talismans can give us a glimpse of the prosperous civilization of that time. Chapter 693. His words caused everyone to fall silent for a few seconds. Even the comments in the live stream began to dwindle, followed by a large row of question marks. What the F*** CK? History buffs are here. Can this really prove the existence of the Wuxia civilization? If that's the case, it'll be a great revolution for history. No, the entire humanities. In a living room, Professor Zhu added, "At present, we generally believe that the most prominent characteristics of the Wuxia civilization are closely related to witchcraft, divination, and sacrifice. According to the records of various eras, talismans, as a cultural symbol, have also changed over time. All of this is traceable, but this clue is missing the most crucial link. Miss Xiang's talismans can help us complete this closed loop. Xiangyi was stunned. Something seemed to have flashed through her mind, but it disappeared too quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. Professor Zhu, I'm very honored to be able to contribute a little to your research. What can I do to help? Can you provide us with some talismans? As well as a video of you drawing talismans. Of course, in addition to a certificate of honor, we're willing to provide a certain amount of monetary subsidies. Xiangyi said, forget about the subsidies. Can you give me a certificate or a little red flower? Huh. Both Professor Zhu and Mr. Ji laughed and looked at Xiangyi with more admiration in their eyes. Look, what a good child. Not only is she diligent and motivated, but she also values money. Xiangyi took out the talisman paper and cinnabar and tried her best to draw all the types of talismans in her mind. Thus, everyone watched helplessly as the little girl continuously drew over 100 talismans with her own strength without stopping even once. The students brought by Professor Zhu were recording a video at the side. While recording, they were amazed by Xiangyi's memory. The drawing method of each talisman was very complicated, and mistakes could be made with the slightest carelessness. However, Xiangyi did it smoothly from beginning to end without making a single mistake. That was enough to show how powerful her memory was. After drawing hundreds of talismans, Xiangyi's hands were still very steady, which meant that her concentration had reached a terrifying level. If such a person were to engage in scientific research, her achievements would definitely be immeasurable. The students looked at each other in dismay. All of them had long faces. Alas, what kind of rookies are we? Time passed. Swish. After finishing the last stroke, the girl exhaled softly. She drew all the types of talismans she could think of. She should be able to help Professor Zhu and the others a little, right? I'm done. Xiangyi turned around and asked the students, have you recorded everything clearly? Is there anything that needs to be recorded? The few of them were stunned at first. Then they reacted. It's done, it's done. Very clear. We even took pictures from different angles. Before they came, they were still a little prejudiced against Xiangyi. After all, it was easy for a female celebrity to give people the impression that she relied on her looks to make a living. But Xiangyi's talent and character had conquered them. Gentleness could be seen in the details. If he was lucky enough to be friends with her, it would definitely be very comfortable getting along with her. Professor Zhu and the others thanked him profusely as if they had received a treasure. They were in a hurry to go back and do their research, so they proposed to leave first. Before leaving, Mr. Ji broke free from Professor Zhu's support, faced Xiangyi, and with much difficulty, he bowed. Miss Xiang, thank you for your selfless dedication. I'm proud of the country for having a young person like you. Chapter 694. He pulled out his peach wood sword, stuck a talisman on it, and threw the sword into the air. The live stream viewers. Oh my God, can he really fly on a sword? In the next second, the peachwood sword hit Taoist Ren's head, and he let out a shrill scream. Ouch, it hurts. Everyone, Li Jinyu said cheekily, don't imitate that dangerous move. Thank you, Taoist Ren, for your performance. He sacrificed himself to entertain us. His spirit is so commendable. The live stream viewers, talking nonsense with a straight face. Haha, Taoist Ren is my laughing point today. Taoist Ren. This sword is immoral. It sneaked an attack on a middle-aged man like me. I advise this sword to take care of itself. Everyone laughed heartily, and the nervousness from before vanished like smoke in thin air. That's right, flying on a sword and flying on a sword are all movies. How could they exist in real life? Xiangyi tried hard to hold back her laughter. Taoist Ren, we're preparing to go up the mountain. Would you like to rest here for a while? Taoist Ren had yet to recover from a blow. He muttered to himself several times, this is impossible. But when he heard Xiangyi's words, he forced himself to cheer up. His gaze swept across Xiangyi, Sure Sui, and Sure Yu. Taoist Ren frowned. It's not safe on the mountain. You're a delicate girl with two powerless men. What if you encounter a wild beast? Xianxia, I'll go with you. Sure, Sui. Sure you? The expressions of the sure uncle and niece seemed to be carved out of the same mold. There was a hint of coldness in their expressionless faces. However, the livestream viewers laughed out loud. Taoist run. Have you seen a delicate girl who can kill a 200-pound pig? Light up a cigarette. Ha! Sure Sui is being treated as a gigolo again. Sure you. It's fine if you say I'm powerless, but you're going overboard by saying that my uncle is. In short, Taoist insisted on going together. Xianxia and the others felt that it was fine and set off together. The audience was used to the usual live broadcast in the manner, so it was very refreshing to go out occasionally. Soon, the group arrived at the foot of the mountain. The nearby mountain was continuous, and the main peak was quite high above sea level. Today, Xianxia and the others were going to climb a lower peak. Although the altitude was low, it hadn't been artificially developed. As far as the eye could see, it was a sea of green. The air was fresh and pleasant, and the chirping of birds and cicadas could be heard. The mountain stream was so clear that one could see the bottom. One could even see a few fish swimming in it. Xianxia plucked a piece of green foxtail. The young girl was very skillful. She weaved a little rabbit for Sure You to play with. Sure You thanked him obediently and held it in his hands as if he had obtained a treasure. He even pretended as if nothing had happened and waved his hand in front of Sure Sui. The little kid's subtle desire to show off was greatly satisfied. Uncle, I have it, but you don't. The next second, Sure Sui spoke softly, adding a touch of tea fragrance to the forest. Sister E, can I have a little rabbit too? Xianxia said without hesitation. Sure, sure. Of course, she had to satisfy her boyfriend's request. The young girl quickly made 2 little rabbits for Sure Sui. Sure Sui took them and smiled. Sister E is very nice. As long as you like them, Xianxia said with a smile. She turned her head to see if there were any edible wild vegetables. While she wasn't paying attention, Sure Sui waved the 2 straw bunnies in front of Sure You. The cold and handsome man, whose bone structure was so good that there was nothing to nitpick about, said seriously, See, I have 2 little rabbits. Chapter 695. He pulled out his peach wood sword, stuck a talisman on it, and threw the sword into the air. The livestream viewers. Oh my God, can he really fly on a sword? In the next second, the peachwood sword hit Taoist Ren's head, and he let out a shrill scream. Ouch, it hurts. Everyone, Li Jinyu said cheekily, don't imitate that dangerous move. Thank you, Taoist Ren, for your performance. He sacrificed himself to entertain us. His spirit is so commendable. The livestream viewers, talking nonsense with a straight face. Haha, Taoist Ren is my laughing point today. Taoist Ren. This sword is immoral. It sneaked an attack on a middle-aged man like me. I advise this sword to take care of itself. Everyone laughed heartily, and that bit of nervousness from before vanished like smoke. That's right, flying on a sword and flying on a sword are all movies. How could they exist in real life? Xianxia tried hard to hold back her laughter. Taoist Ren, we're preparing to go up the mountain. Would you like to rest here for a while? Taoist Ren had yet to recover from the blow. He muttered to himself several times, This is impossible, but when he heard Xianxia's words, he forced himself to cheer up. His gaze swept across Xianxia, Sure Sui, and Sure You. Taoist Ren frowned. It's not safe on the mountain. You're a delicate girl with 2 powerless men. What if you encounter a wild beast? Xianxia, I'll go with you. Sure Sui. Sure You? The expressions of the sure uncle and niece seemed to be carved out of the same mold. There was a hint of coldness in their expressionless faces. However, the livestream viewers laughed out loud. Taoist Ren, have you seen a delicate girl who can kill a 200-pound pig? Light up a cigarette. Ha ha ha. Sure Sui is being treated as a gigolo again. Sure You. It's fine if you say I'm powerless, but you're going overboard by saying that my uncle is. In short, Taoist Ren insisted on going together. Xianxia and the others felt that it was fine and set off together. The audience was used to the usual live broadcast in the manner, so it was very refreshing to go out occasionally. Soon, the group arrived at the foot of the mountain. The nearby mountain was continuous, and the main peak was quite high above sea level. Today, Xianxia and the others were going to climb a lower peak. Although the altitude was low, it hadn't been artificially developed. As far as the eye could see, it was a sea of green. The air was fresh and pleasant, and the chirping of birds and cicadas could be heard. The mountain stream was so clear that one could see the bottom. One could even see a few fish swimming in it. Xianxia plucked a piece of green foxtail. The young girl was very skillful. She weaved a little rabbit for Shiryu to play with. Shiryu thanked him obediently and held it in his hands as if he had obtained a treasure. He even pretended as if nothing had happened and waved his hand in front of Shui. The little kid's subtle desire to show off was greatly satisfied. "Uncle, I have it, but you don't." The next second, Shui spoke softly, adding a touch of tea fragrance to the forest. "Sister E, can I have a little rabbit too?" Xianxia said without hesitation. Sure. Of course, she had to satisfy her boyfriend's request. The young girl quickly made 2 little rabbits for Shui. Shui took them and smiled. "Sister E is very nice. As long as you like them," Xianxia said with a smile. She turned her head to see if there were any edible wild vegetables. While she wasn't paying attention, Shui waved the 2 straw bunnies in front of Shiryu. The cold and handsome man had an impeccable physique. He said in a serious tone, "Do you see? I have 2 little rabbits." The order of the 2 chapters had been changed. It was time to refresh. Chapter 696. Shiryu was speechless. The little Shota was speechless. He used to idolize his uncle, but who could have told him that his uncle was so childish? The livestream viewers were aghast. "Shiryu, you don't do anything related to humans at all. You can't be too sure, Shui. You're even bullying children." "Ha! It's clearly the Sure family showing off to each other. It's obvious that they're just a plastic family." Unwilling to be outdone, Shiryu puffed up his cheeks and said, I have one too." Shui smiled and said, "I have 2. Shiryu exclaimed, "Sister gave it to me first." Shui continued, "I have 2. Shiryu was speechless. "I'm so tired." Showing off to his little nephew was no longer enough to satisfy a certain Shiryu. Thus, he locked his gaze on the camera. The livestream viewers were speechless. They suddenly had a bad feeling. Sure enough, the man got closer to the camera, and his handsome and noble face was magnified. Without the enhancement of any beauty filter, his skin was still cold and pale. When he smiled, it was bewitching. "This is a little rabbit that Sister E made for me." Shui raised his left hand and then his right. "This is also a little rabbit that Sister E made for me. Isn't it cute?" Everyone at the scene was speechless. The livestream viewers were speechless. "There are 2 trees in front of my house. One is a jujube tree, and the other is also a jujube tree. Shiryu must be a contemporary literary hero. Ha! Is this man really 27 years old? He's so childish. You guys are luring the dog in to be killed. If I'm guilty, the law will punish me, not slap me in the face with dog food." Suddenly, Xianxi's surprised voice came from not far away. "There are mushrooms." Looking in the direction of the voice, they saw the little girl standing under the shade of a tree and waving in the direction of the crowd. Shui walked closer with his long legs. Perhaps because it had just rained, there were many mushrooms growing nearby, spreading into a large area. Xianxia quickly identified which ones were edible and which were poisonous and told everyone to pick them separately. Even Shiryu gave him a small basket so that the child could feel the joy of labor. This was a very new experience for Shiryu. The little boy huffed and puffed as he picked them very seriously. Xianxia vividly told the audience about several common ways to make mushrooms. While she was talking, Taoist Ren's loud voice came from beside her. "Gulp." Xianxia looked over. Taoist Ren said awkwardly, "Well, I was in a hurry on the way, so I ate a box lunch on the train." "Xianxia, when you started talking about food, I got hungry." Xianxia didn't say anything. Her expression was solemn as she stared at Taoist Ren. Seeing that she didn't say anything, someone in the live broadcast room suddenly picked on her. "Is this how you treat your guests?" "That's right. Rendauta came all the way here. Isn't treating him to a meal the most basic social etiquette?" Taoist Ren is talking to her, and she's ignoring him. Is there something wrong with her? Is she getting arrogant because she's popular? The group of people was filled with righteous indignation. In the next moment, the camera slowly switched, and many people screamed in front of the screen. Ah! Through the high-definition camera, the crowd saw that on the tree behind Taoist Run, a snake had climbed up a mountain at some point. The audience in the live broadcast room instantly went crazy. F***CK. This is a F***king venomous snake. F***CK. I was so scared that I dropped my tablet. It's over, it's over. This snake is super venomous and fast. Is the production team going to die here? Chapter 697. Guo Shanfeng's real name was King Cobra. It was ferocious and had quick reflexes. Most importantly, it was highly venomous and was one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. The scene was so quiet that one could hear the wind and no one dared to make sound. Even the experienced cameraman Lao Zhang's hands couldn't help but tremble. Who wouldn't be afraid? It was a venomous snake. They might even lose their lives here. Taoist Run had his back to the tree, and because of his perspective, he was the only one who didn't understand what was going on. He even shamelessly discussed the topic of freeloading with Xianxia. Xianxia, it's getting late. I can't catch the high-speed train with my old bones. Can I stay for a simple meal? Don't worry. I won't freeload. I'm willing to teach you the unique swordsmanship of Xianxia Temple. It's the ultimate technique of my temple. If it were anyone else, Taoistron wouldn't teach them, even if they were offered money. However, Xianxia was different. She had selflessly taught him the talisman, so he naturally had to return the favor. The viewers in the live stream were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe. Their typing was trembling. Taoistron, shut up. I'm so scared that Guoshan Phone will bite you first. Oh my god, I'm going to cry. What should we do? It's just climbing a mountain. How could there be such an accident? I've already called the police and the fire department, forestry bureau, and zoo rescue. I hope they can make it in time. However, I think everyone is in danger. At least 1 or 2 people have to stay behind to hold Guoshan Phone back so that the others can escape unscathed. Anyone who had compassion in their hearts was secretly praying at this moment, hoping that everyone in the program team would be safe and sound. However, even at this time, there were still people who were quick-witted. Doesn't Xianxia know how to draw talismans? She should draw a talisman to make the snake go away. She must be stupid, right? No way. Such remarks easily aroused the anger of the crowd. How could he say such things at a time like this? He was undoubtedly starting a war. The hot-tempered netizens directly spat out vulgarities. Even the most Buddhist Spicy Tutu was so angry that she started spitting. Taoistron saw that Xianxia didn't respond for a long time. Combined with the reactions of the others, he vaguely understood something. His eyesight was very good. Through Xianxia's bright doe eyes, he saw his own reflection and the figure that was a few meters long behind him. Shua. Taoist Rin broke out in cold sweat, and his legs couldn't help but tremble. The atmosphere at the scene turned cold for a moment. Before anyone could come up with a countermeasure, the snake slowly flicked out its tongue, as if it was preparing to hunt. This was simply one disaster after another. No one dared to act rashly. Their eyes and hearts were filled with despair. Taoist Run gritted his teeth and hardened his heart. You guys go first. I'll hold this beast back. Qing Shui Guan was on the mountain. He had dealt with snakes before, and he practiced martial arts all year round. No matter what, he was stronger than these unarmed young people. In a live stream, the Taoist priest is so nice. Though, Taoist priest, you must survive. I will definitely go to your monastery to burn incense. Being willing to stay at a time like this is enough to show Taoist Ren's benevolence. Unlike some artists who are so awesome when they're drawing talismans, they're good at pretending to be dead. At this moment, Guoshan Feng arched his body and looked like he was about to launch an attack. Xianxia, who had been silent all this while, finally found the right opportunity. The girl's voice was as clear as the sound of nature. She said calmly, Taoist priest, lend me your sword. Taoist Run was dumbfounded. Sword? The one I have? No, it's just a peachwood sword. Chapter 698. Be it the staff at the scene or the audience watching the live stream, they were all dumbfounded. Sister, he wants to borrow my sword? Is she going to challenge Gua Shanfeng one-on-one? No way, no way. Is Xiangyi trying to make me laugh to death? If it's an iron sword, there might be hope, but a peachwood sword. I'm afraid it's too late. I give up. Why is she still pretending a time like this? Aren't everyone's lives worth more than their own lives? Xiangyi is so annoying. What can a peachwood sword do? Does she really think that Bai Xie's feudal crap is going to work? Can't she use her brain? Everyone kept criticizing, but the eyes of the spicy tutu fans lit up with hope. Maybe, Sister E really has a way? Based on their understanding of Xiangyi, she wouldn't have made such a request if she wasn't completely confident. Amidst the doubts of the crowd, Xiangyi simply repeated, Taoist priest sword. Taoist Ren hesitated for a moment, but in the end, he gritted his teeth and pulled out the peachwood sword before tossing it to Xiangyi. Forget it, I'm going to die anyway. Giving the sword to Xiangyi might give me a chance to turn the tables. The moment he pulled out the sword, Gua Shanfeng moved as well. His several-meter-long body moved at an incredible speed. Countless people in front of the screen closed their eyes. It's over. The first one to be bitten will definitely be Taoist Run. Who's the closest? The scene was so thrilling that some people at the scene couldn't help but scream. Immediately, it caused a chain reaction as panic screams sounded one after another. Ah! I'm going to die! I'm going to die! Help! Ooh! The audience, who could barely muster up the courage to continue watching the live stream, turned pale and broke out in cold sweat. This is scarier than a horror movie. This is a live stream of death. In the blink of an eye, a few seconds passed. To everyone's surprise, not only did Gua Shanfeng not bite Taoist Ren, on the contrary, screech, hiss. Two fearful voices sounded one after another. The audience, who had closed their eyes, secretly opened their eyes, only to be instantly dumbfounded. The 7th inch of the mountain was actually nailed to the tree by Xiangyi's sword. To a snake, the 7th inch was the most fatal spot. It could be said that this sword strike had caused Gua Shanfeng to lose most of his combat power. The live stream was silent for a few seconds before the comments exploded at a terrifying speed. WTF? What the F***CK did I see? Am I hallucinating, or are there special effects in the live stream room? I'm going to split it open. Wasn't that a peachwood sword? The peachwood sword pierced through the snake's body and stabbed into the tree? What is this operation? But more than that, there was a sentence that came from the bottom of everyone's heart. Sister E is awesome. Everyone at the scene was also stunned. Was the scene in front of them real? How strong was Sister Yi's arm strength when she stabbed the peachwood sword into the tree? Everyone thought that they were saved, but a sudden change occurred. Sister, be careful. Sure, you shouted. Gua Shanfeng's 7th inch was nailed, but he did not lose all ability to move. His upper body straightened, and he opened his fangs to bite Xiangyi. No one expected such a turn of events. Sister, it's over. It's really over. That was a unanimous thought in the minds of countless people. Unexpectedly, Xiangyi's body was as agile as a dragon. With a run-up, she leaped directly onto another tree. The girl's climbing speed was simply breathtaking. In an instant, she seemed to have activated the flash function in the game and easily avoided Gua Shanfeng's attack. Chapter 699. Xiangyi's godly maneuver could be described as heavenly, and it was so beautiful that it made one's scalp tingle. Hiss! Hiss! Gua Shanfeng spat out his tongue, but it was all in vain, as he couldn't reach Xiangyi at all. The others had long distanced themselves from her. The excruciating pain coming from his weak spot gradually made Gua Shanfeng lose his strength. Soon, Gua Shanfeng curled up into a ball in exhaustion. Everyone at the scene was relieved. In a live stream, the viewers were all dumbfounded. Is she climbing a tree or using Qigong? Oh my God, Sister E is faster than a monkey when it comes to climbing trees. I got it. She nailed a snake with her sword and climbed a tree in a second. She learned some useless survival skills again. Sister E is God. Xiang E is a fake. I won't accept any rebuttals. Everyone at the scene looked at each other in disbelief. Such a thrilling and exciting crisis was actually resolved just like that. Recalling the scene that just happened, everyone was in disbelief. Is this a live stream of a variety show? Or is this a movie? Every scene was full of dramatic effects. Before anyone could react, they hurriedly replayed the scene. The girl's black hair was soft, and she looked very obedient when she was still, but when she was really frozen, her posture was full of vigor, beautiful and valiant. Be it the strength of the sword, the angle, or the decisiveness and suaveness when she ran up the tree, they were all emotional and couldn't help but watch again and again. Not long after, professionals from the fire department and the forestry bureau arrived to deal with the aftermath. Xianxia jumped down from the tree with steady footsteps and a calm expression. She handed the peach wood sword back to Rindaoren. Thank you, Taoist priest. Taoist priest Run was in a daze. You're welcome. When he came back to his senses, he hurriedly said, Xianxia, I should be the one thanking you. Without you, Guoshanfeng would have bitten me and I would be dead. The tense atmosphere in the live stream dissipated, and everyone was even in the mood to joke around. Sister E, come on, Xiaorun, I'll teach you what it means to fly with a sword. Sister E says she believes in science while showing us what metaphysics is. She's watching a live stream with a foreign friend. She now thinks that everyone in China knows martial arts. Rai smile. On the internet, someone edited the video of the confrontation between Xianxia and Guoshanfeng. As soon as it was uploaded, it received hundreds of thousands of likes. Related trending searches rose steadily, dominating the charts in minutes. Hashtag sister E-Riseby hashtag Xianxia flying immortal with one sword hashtag Chinese Kung Fu hashtag Xiang family's ancestral tree climbing skill hashtag contemporary swordsman dual video hashtag. Sister, Shiryu immediately threw himself into Xianxia's arms. No matter how smart he was still a child physically and mentally. His eyes were completely red. Xianxia patted his back and comforted him softly. I'm fine. How are you? Are you scared? Shiryu shook his head. After thinking for a while, he pursed his lips and nodded. He didn't want to lie in front of Xianxia. I'm sorry. If I had known that it would be so dangerous in the mountains, I wouldn't have brought you out, Xianxia said as she rubbed Shiryu's hair. As soon as she looked up, she met Sui's abyss-like gaze. In the next second, she was pulled into Sui's arms. He was so forceful that she felt as if he was going to melt her into his bones. At this moment, the number of online viewers of the Two Under One Roof live stream exceeded the 20 million mark in just a few minutes, breaking a small rule and setting another record. The Nanxing Historical and Cultural Research Institute also updated their status. Ms. Xianxia is invited to be a guest professor of our institute. Chapter 700. In an instant, the academic community was shocked. Generally, teachers would have to be in their 30s or 40s to be appointed as professors. Being a guest professor was an honorary title that didn't have as high requirements as being appointed as a professor. However, it was basically given to well-known scholars, entrepreneurs, inventors, and so on. They were often older too. But how old was Xianxia? 20 years old. A 20-year-old guest professor. There weren't many in the entire country. Netizens arrived at the scene one after another, and the comments section of this Weibo post became lively. Sister E is probably the youngest professor in history, right? No. Her second brother, Xiang Li, was appointed as a professor at the age of 17 or 18. I'm kneeling down to him. Sister E isn't that good, but she's still very impressive. Our kid is so hardworking. Her old mother shed tears of relief and kicked OD, who can't even solve a second-grade math problem. I'm dying of laughter. She can be appointed as a professor just because she drew a few scribbles? Are the guest professors in the academic community so lousy? What do you mean by scribbles? If you're so good, go ahead. First, they were in danger, and then they were lucky enough to be rescued. The production crew's limbs were all weak. Just now, they couldn't react at all and forced themselves to continue with the live stream. After being rescued, everyone didn't even have the strength to hold the equipment. The live stream ended at the scene where Shui hugged Xianxia tightly. At the scene, Xianxia said softly. Sure Sui, don't be afraid. We're safe now. As a result, the young girl felt the hands on her waist tighten even more. The man lowered his eyes, his emotions difficult to discern. Xianxia thought that he was angry and patted the man on the back. I wasn't impulsive. I weighed the pros and cons before making up my mind. I'm almost 90% sure that I can get rid of that snake. She had been in danger too many times in the past, and even after returning to this world for so long, her physical and mental instincts were still there. Xianxia didn't think that today's danger was anything special. The man's hoarse voice sounded beside her ear. I'm not angry. After a pause, he said, Our sister, he did very well. Xianxia was a little happy to be praised by the person she loved. She rubbed herself against his chest. She seemed to be acting spoiled. Sure Sui gently rubbed the back of the girl's neck. His long and narrow eyes were filled with ruthlessness and malice. He was thinking about what Xianxia had gone through in the past year. Did he suffer a lot? Suffered a lot of grievances? A lot of tears? Such a nice little rabbit. He didn't dare to think too deeply about it. Li Jinyu rested for a while, rubbed his face with his hands, and shouted, Everyone, cheer up. It's getting late, and it gets dark quickly in the mountains. Let's hurry down the mountain and go back to eat something warm. It's my treat tonight. Everyone was still in a state of shock. The word treat didn't cause any waves, and they numbly packed up their things. Until the girl's sweet voice entered everyone's ears. The weather is so hot. The ducks at home must have gotten heat stroke. Let's go back and cook a duck. If they get heat stroke, won't we get heat stroke after eating it? Hey, what's there to be afraid of? Just eat it with Isatis indigotica. I'm calling you an expert. Even Master Fong and the others will praise this dish. The eyes of the people who were like walking corpses suddenly lit up. Even the pace of their journey had become much lighter. The professional rescue workers in charge of the aftermath swallowed their saliva. The ducks were so greedy. Cough, so miserable. Chapter 701. Although the staff members were carrying equipment, they walked at the front. On the other hand, Sure Sui carried Shiryu with one hand and held Xianxia with the other. The three of them walked at the back. Shiryu's little face was pale. He was a child after all. At first, he did not want Sure Sui to carry him. But not long after, he was so tired that he fell asleep with his arms around his uncle's neck. His thick and long eyelashes cast a shadow, soft and obedient. The little boy was so cute that Xianxia could not help but take a few more glances at him. Sure Sui's expression did not change. She turned Shiryu's little head to her other shoulder. Xianxia watched the road. The man reminded her in a low voice. Xianxia muttered softly, stingy. Oh, ahem, little uncle said that he will come over tonight. He will be so happy to see Shiryu. Little Uncle Xiangfeng was famous for liking children. Unfortunately, he had been single since birth and could only take care of other people's cute children. Even after such a thrilling experience, Sure Sui's shirt was still neat and tidy. However, she took off her gold-rimmed glasses. Without the glasses blocking her peach blossom eyes, the visual impact was too strong. He said in a muffled voice, Do you like Shiryu very much? The sun was setting in the west, and the evening wind was gentle. Xianxi's eyes curved into crescents. Boyfriend, are you jealous? Or are you jealous of a child? Sure Sui lowered his long eyelashes and was silent for a few seconds. Then he said, Yes. Puff. Xianxia could not help but laugh. She explained helplessly and amusedly. Liking Shiryu is different from liking you. Also, I think Shiryu is very much like you. When I see him, I always think about what you were like when you were young. After all, the two of them were 7 years apart. Xianxia had missed his childhood. In her impression, Sure Sui was already a calm and gentle big brother next door when she first met him. Therefore, it was difficult for her to imagine Sure Sui when he was young. Shiryu's appearance made up for this regret. Are you curious? Sure Sui's voice was clear and pleasant. When I was young, I didn't seem to be cute or likable at all. Xianxia retorted, Of course not. You must be the cutest kid in the world. Sure Sui chuckled and changed the topic. What's Yaya going to do? Roast duck? Braised duck? Those unbearable and dark years were not worth mentioning. There was no need for her to know. When it came to food, Xianxia became spirited and started counting the menu with her small hands. Roast duck is definitely a must. The duck rack can be fried, and then we can make braised duck neck, braised duck wings, and duck blood and vermicelli soup. The thin rays of sunlight fell on his back, elongating his shadow. She was going home. 2 hours later, the live stream of Two Under One Roof was opened, and the number of viewers who flooded in almost caused the server to explode. Other than the loyal fans, there were also many newcomers. I'm here because of your reputation. Sister E, teach me. I want to learn swordsmanship. Can anyone answer me? How good is Xiangyi's combat skills? If you don't know, just ask. Isn't this a martial arts show? Why are you cooking now? In the kitchen, Xiangyi had her hair tied up in a bun, and her skin was as fair as snow. She was leisurely scooping out a large spoonful of braised duck meat from the pot. The camera zoomed in and gave her a close-up. The duck neck, duck wings, and duck collarbone had all been braised to a crisp, fragrant, and spicy state. It was as if the meat would be separated from the bones with just a little bit of force. Gulp. The new fans were in a daze. This. Why is my mouth not listening to me? Chapter 702. The impact of the braised food was strong enough. However, this was just the beginning. The new fans watched helplessly as Xianxia turned on the oven again. The roast duck was roasted to a caramel color, and the fat sizzled under the high temperature as it dripped onto the roasting pan. The new fans were going crazy. Immediately after, Xiangxia fried the duck rack and cooked duck blood and vermicelli soup. It was a complete duck feast. The girl's movements were clean and neat, and her coordination skills were amazing. Multitasking was a basic skill, and she didn't seem flustered while cooking several dishes at the same time. In the live stream, I'm so hungry, but I just ate. Isn't Xiangxia a sword immortal? Aren't sword immortals supposed to be otherworldly? Why is she so proficient in cooking? Forget about being a sword immortal. What the hell is a sword immortal? Our sister E is just an ordinary super straight A student, god of cookery, folk music big shot, traditional Chinese medicine expert, talisman genius, tree climbing genius, magical girl. You have already mastered the essence of the common language. The countless new fans in front of their screens were dumbfounded. However, there were also countless new fans who couldn't help but click on the yellow and blue apps. All of a sudden, orders for braised duck neck, roast duck, and duck blood and vermicelli soup skyrocketed across the country. Not long after, the live stream was full of complaints. F***CK. A certain black duck store is sold out. I've already paid for my order, but the boss called me and told me to cancel it. He said that there's no duck supply today. Oh my god. Why is it so difficult to eat duck? It's so hard to get a duck. Li Jinyu reluctantly spent a huge sum of money and ordered takeout for the staff so that everyone could take turns eating. However, everyone was eating absent-mindedly. They were all obviously waiting for Xiangyi's duck. When the girl called out, it was no exaggeration to say that everyone was so excited that it was as if they were celebrating the new year. The duck is here. The duck is here. Ah, it's the duck. It smells so good. I can smell it. In the living room, Taoist Run had gotten himself a cattail hassock from somewhere and was sitting cross-legged on the floor, meditating. He had the posture of a peerless expert. Taoist Ren's lips curled into a contemptuous smile when he heard the commotion. Nothing more than that. Even if it was a delicacy, it could only satisfy one's appetite. Someone passed by him and urged, "Master, please stop meditating. Otherwise, the ducks will be gone soon." Taoist Ren opened his eyes. His gaze was like a torch. He flicked his horsetail whisk and said, "You young people are as kind as water. Water benefits all living things, but does not compete. It deals with the evils of the masses and is close to the Tao." The man was dumbfounded. What are you trying to say? Taoist Run, let nature take its course, follow your heart's desires, and do nothing. Do you understand? As expected of the Taoist priest, I'm ashamed of my inferiority to your spiritual realm. The viewers in the live stream were stunned. Is the Taoist priest some kind of Taoist master? These words, if you think about it carefully, they're extremely thoughtful. Kindness like water, follow your heart's desires. Thank you, Taoist priest. I feel like I've comprehended something. In the next second, Xianxia poked her head out of the kitchen. Taoist priest, your pot is ready. Taoist Ren, okay. The large pot on Taoist Ren's back was now filled to the brim. At the bottom was the braised food. In the middle were several large pieces of duck rack and fried mushrooms. And at the top was a roast duck roll with shredded cucumber, shredded onion, and sweet sauce. Everyone. F*CK. Chapter 703. So, it's not that you don't want to fight for it, but you've already taken it all. What a ruthless person. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the crowd, Taoist Run didn't seem to feel guilty at all. He calmly and leisurely stepped forward and steadily picked up the big pot. He said politely, Xianxia, you're too polite. You put in too much. It's too heavy, I can't hold it anymore. Everyone was speechless. Look at how skillful you are. You can probably handle another pot. Xianxia was still smiling. She brought out a large bowl of duck blood and vermicelli soup and suggested to Taoist Ren, I think it would be good to change it to a double-flavored pot. It can also be filled with soup and porridge, so there's no need to worry about the flavors between the dishes. Taoist Ren's body trembled as if he had been enlightened. He stood on the spot and said, it can actually be done like that. Everyone was speechless. Taoist Ren, those who don't know better would think that you guys are discussing cultivation. Who would have thought that you guys are talking about carrying a pot? And Sister E, you're too indulgent. What double-flavored pot? If you want to carry a pot, you should at least carry 4 or 9 palaces. The dining table was filled with a sumptuous dinner. Shiryu's back was straight, and his sitting posture was upright, like a gentleman's etiquette textbook. However, the little boy's eyes were already glued to the duck. It smells so good. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat. Xianxia placed a bowl of soup in front of him and pinched his little face. Shiryu, is there anything else you want to eat? Shiryu shook his head. Then try it first to see if it's to your liking. If you want to eat something else, let me know, okay? Shiryu nodded. Xiangfeng had just returned not long ago. He leaned back in his chair in enjoyment and shook his legs as he smelled the aroma. Little Yu, eat more. Boys can only grow taller if they eat more. Only by climbing trees can they climb faster. The bullet screen of the live stream was filled with joy. Mr. Xiang, don't lead the children astray. No. You've misunderstood, Mr. Xiang. Climbing trees is an escape skill. Mr. Xiang is doing this for the children's future. Climbing trees is not just an escape skill. Didn't you see that Sister E used it as a combat skill? I strongly suggest that our country should include tree climbing into the compulsory education system. Shui glanced at him from the corner of her eyes. She saw through the child's thoughts and said lightly, you can eat now. The food under Shiryu's table shook excitedly because of her words. He picked up his chopsticks, picked up a small piece of meat from the braised duck neck, and put it into his mouth. Boom! In an instant, the rich taste of sweet, spicy, fresh, fragrant, and numbing attacked the little Shota's tender taste buds. His black and white eyes were wide open, and he seemed to have forgotten to chew, not knowing what to do with it in his mouth. In this world, there was actually such delicious food. Shiryu's parents had a light palate and mainly ate vegetarian food. Shiryu rarely ate meat, let alone spicy food. Today's bite had opened the door to a whole new world for him. Xianxia and Xiangfeng, one on the left and one on the right, served the little boy food and soup. Taking care of others was probably an instinct of the Xiang family. Spoiling their young was even more of an instinct. Thus, in a trance, Shiryu experienced the feeling of happiness that was described in the cartoon. The uncle and nephew of the Xiang family even had a friendly discussion. Children are actually quite easy to take care of. Yeah, who said it's hard to take care of children? I've never met a child that's hard to take care of. The live stream audience. Please use this method on me. Chapter 704. The pop-up comments immediately turned into a large-scale family reunion. Daddy's sister, I'm the long-lost baby of your Xiang family. I'm the most difficult kid to take care of in the entire universe. Give me an address. I'll send myself to you right away. Don't you guys feel embarrassed calling me daddy all the time? Don't you know that people need face and tree bark? Grandpa, take care of me. Under the meticulous care of the Xiang uncle and nephew, for the first time in his life, Shiryu ate to his heart's content. In the end, the little boy ate until his belly was round and round. While burping, he couldn't help but drink a few mouthfuls of duck blood and vermicelli soup. Xiangfeng led him to take a shower, then turned around and asked Shui, "I'm going to take this little brat for a swim after the shower. Taoist priest, Shui, are you guys coming?" Taoist priest Run was extremely thick-skinned. Exercising after meals is really good for health. Before Shui could respond, the pop-up comments in the live stream room had already gone crazy. The manor was big enough to have both an outdoor and an indoor swimming pool. Shui glanced at Xianxia. The little girl was lowering her head and drinking the soup, spoonful by spoonful, obediently and softly. Hearing their conversation, Xianxia raised her head and met Shui's eyes. She blinked her doe eyes and asked, "Uncle, Taoist priest, do you want anything to drink? I'll bring you some water later." "Whatever." Xiangfeng dragged Shiryu out. Although Taoist priest Run was thick-skinned, his EQ was high, so he followed with a smile. Only Shui and Xianxia were left in the living room. The cameraman was not there, but the fixed camera in the living room was running, and subtle sounds could be heard. Thump, thump. An ambiguous atmosphere was brewing uncontrollably, and the surrounding temperature seemed to have risen by several degrees. Xianxia thought that the duck blood and vermicelli soup must be too salty. Otherwise, why would her throat be so dry? She unconsciously licked the corner of her lips. "Aren't you going?" Shui squinted at her with a faint smile. "Sister-y, do you want me to go?" The man's voice was low and magnetic. After deliberately lowering it, there was a hint of hoarseness in it, which sounded very seductive. In a live stream, I screamed until the voice-activated lights on all 30 floors lit up for me. Sister E quickly agreed. "Don't you want to unlock the swimsuit version of Xianxia? OMG, Xianxia is so good. Whoa, asking like this really makes me feel like I'm in love. I'm getting a concussion for being teased in front of the screen." Under the light, the aroma of the rice wafted in the air. It was a warm and beautiful scene. Xiangxi's face was calm. "Up to you." However, she quickly added, "I'll get you a bath towel." It seemed like he was given a choice. In fact, he had already conveyed his intentions. Shui chuckles and receives the little girl's signal calmly. "Okay, I'll go change first." After he left, Xianxia quietly pinched her burning ears. That scene happened to be captured by the camera. In front of the screen, the audience all smiled like an ant. Li Jinyu deliberately played a naughty trick and suddenly changed the screen. "Hey, it's not good to do a live stream of swimming or something." The pop-up comments were all urging him to start a live stream. Swimming is a healthy sport. It should be popularized to more people. I have a friend who is terminally ill. Her last wish is to see Xianxia's abs. Are we the ones that want to see it? Sister E wants to see it. Sister Yi's request must be fulfilled. Doghead, live stream. If you dare to live stream, I'll call you daddy from now on. Chapter 705. The group of people who usually arrogantly called Director Li to smash the food were now crying and calling him daddy. This was probably life was full of ups and downs. Don't bully the young for being poor, right? Xianxia prepared a few drinks and distributed them to the crew. The camera panned over, and the audience in front of the screen almost burst out laughing. In a courtyard, the crew took turns to eat the duck banquet, just like a large zombie feeding scene. Everyone was desperately stuffing food into their mouths. The lighting engineer and the sound collector were fighting online for a mouthful of the duck rack. The makeup artist and her assistant were tearing each other's hair out over the last bowl of duck blood vermicelli soup, and the cameraman who was eating and laughing maniacally in a live stream. "Duck, duck, have a safe trip." "Ha, another one has gone crazy." "Sister, you must have drugged the duck." With Xianxi's sour plum soup, strawberry orange juice, peach-flavored water, and soy milk, a new round of fighting broke out. Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She wanted to go to the kitchen to make more supper. Li Jinyu said, "You can film the food too. I'll get old Zhang to switch to the camera for the live stream." In the next second, Ruanqing pushed Xianxia towards the swimming pool. "Sister E, go give Shui and the others some water first." Many female audience members in front of the screen chuckled. Indeed, Women knew women better. Director Lee was just a younger brother. Smiley face. It was a hot summer day, and the outdoor swimming pool was a good place to cool off. Xianxia arrived at the pool, put down the drink and towel, and turned her small face. The cameraman was filming from her perspective, so the camera naturally turned to her. The first person that caught everyone's attention was Rendaoist. He was in his 30s and had bronze-colored muscles. He had a wild and unrestrained beauty. He was holding a gourd in his hand and drinking wine casually. From time to time, he would recite a few lines of poetry to the moon, giving off an otherworldly aura. Everyone, I'm crying. My figure isn't as good as Daoists. Then it was Xianfeng and Shiyu. Although Xianfeng usually looked like a simple-minded person, he was actually very sporty. Moreover, with the good genes of the Xiang family, he still had a few abdominal muscles. He carried the soft and obedient Shiyu, as if he was carrying a little chick. He put the little yellow duck swimming hoop on Shiyu and said, "Come, Grandpa will teach you how to splash water." Shiyu tilted his head and imitated him for a while. Then he boldly scooped up a handful of water and splashed it at Xianfeng. Xianfeng chuckled. "Not bad, not bad. You're a fast learner. But little Yu, Grandpa will now teach you what it means to be beaten up by society." Shiyu was speechless. The audience in the live stream room. CEO Xiang is such a good man. Why can't he be mute? The biggest weakness of the Xiang family's Feng. Too bad he can talk. Help, I'm dying of laughter. Shiyu is still a baby. Why'd he have to bully him like this? The child is dumbfounded. In the end, the camera lived up to everyone's expectations and fell on Shui. The man was only wearing a pair of tight black swimming trunks. His hair was all combed back, and his eyes were clean and clear. His abdominal muscles were well-defined, and his Apollo's belt reached his waistline. He had broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and long legs. He had a standard inverted triangle figure, just like a walking hormone. Sensing the sound of Xiangyi's footsteps, he turned his face to the side and smiled in Xiangyi's direction. Chapter 706. In Shui's movies and TV series, Xiangyi had seen him smile in many different ways. Innocent, ruthless, desperate, and ruthless, but none of them had made her feel as moved as she did now. The girl nodded at him calmly, but her heart was beating wildly. The live stream had gone crazy. Those abs. My nose is bleeding. Good guy Shui doesn't treat us as outsiders, does he? Sisters, I believe I'm not the only one who is Doryman. Hey, if you want to talk about this, I'm not sleepy anymore. The comment section flew by quickly, dazzling everyone. After bullying Shiyu for a while, Xianfeng finally found his conscience and brought the little brat to Xiangyi's side. Shiyu's face was sullen, as if he was sulking. Xiangyi carefully dried his hair with a towel and asked, "Do you want something to drink?" Shiyu shook his head and sat down obediently without saying a word. Xiangyi poked the little boy's cheek. "Are you angry? Do you want me to help you take revenge?" Shiyu's eyelashes were wet, and he looked a little like a newborn puppy. He sounded a little depressed. "I'm not angry. I just feel they'll be leaving in a few days." Sister Xiangyi's family was so blissful. But he would have to leave sooner or later. He told himself that he couldn't be a greedy child, but he was still greedy. He wanted to stay here forever, eat Sister Xiangyi's delicious food, and listen to her warm fairy tales. Xiangyi was stunned. She didn't expect Shiyu's answer to be like this. Yu, if you want to come and play, you can come anytime, Xiangyi said with a smile. I read in a book that people who meet will meet again, so we'll definitely have many opportunities to meet again in the future. Shiyu's eyelashes fluttered, and he obediently wrapped the towel around himself. Really? Can I? Before he finished speaking, Xianfeng's shout came from not far away. Little Xiangyi, help us be the referee. We're going to compete. Xiang, he made a hand gesture to indicate okay. Xianfeng, I'll count to 321. Get ready, then we'll start. 3, 2. Before he could finish counting, Xianfeng had already jumped into the water and seized the initiative. Daoist Run was confused. I can't believe that there is someone more shameless than me in this world. He jumped into the water and chased after Xianfeng with all his might. On the other hand, Shui was still on the shore. She stretched her wrists and ankles lazily, as if she did not care about the competition at all. Xianxia was anxious. She clenched her small fist and said, "Boyfriend, you can do it." Hearing the girl's voice, Shui glanced at her, raised her eyebrows, and then jumped into the water. Her posture was standard like that of a professional athlete. Although Xianfeng was the first to dive into the water, he ran out of strength halfway through. On the other hand, Ren Daozhong had better stamina and swam to the front. However, Shui was like a fish in water. In the blink of an eye, she had closed the distance between them. The man's figure was tall and slender, and he was nimble and agile in the water. His strength and beauty were undoubtedly revealed at this moment. 5 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter, whoosh. Taking advantage of Ren Daozhong's respiration, Shui directly overtook him, and then firmly held the first place. The audience watched with surging emotions. Shuri's stamina is not bad. Sister Yi's small body, can she handle in the future? Wake up! Sister Yi is the girl who nailed a several-meter-long mountain peak into a tree with a sword. Everyone should be worried about Shuri, right? The live stream instantly fell into a mysterious silence. Chapter 707. That's true. Xianxia was someone who could lift pots that weighed more than 10 kilograms, slaughter little black pigs that weighed more than 100 kilograms, and beat up vicious fugitives when it came to beating people up. In comparison, Shuri seemed a little delicate. Someone asked, "Shuri, can he do it?" Instantly, everyone rushed to answer, "I know this question. Shuri can't." Don't ask. If you ask, our Shui can't do it. Does it matter if he can or not? Can't Sister Yi do it? The new fans were at a loss. Did Shuri have so many haters? However, when they clicked on the most vicious accounts, they realized that most of them were Shui sisters. The new fans were speechless. What kind of operation was this? Had all the Shui sisters' accounts been hacked? After a few rounds of back and forth, Shui took first place without any suspense. Ren Daoist came in second, with a gap of more than 10 meters between them. Xianfeng was in an even worse state as he choked on water and panted like a dying dog. Shuryu walked to the side of the pool. Xianfeng was touched. "Yu, are you here to comfort Grandpa?" "It's okay. Grandpa has a strong mentality." In the next second, Shuryu pulled out an oversized water gun. Xianfeng was confused. Shuryu glanced at Xianxia guiltily. "Sister Xianxia gave this to me." Xianfeng was speechless. "Yu, listen to me." The only response he got was a merciless water gun attack. Shuryu's soft and tender voice rang out. Sister Xianxia said that those who mess around have to pay for what they've done. Xianfeng was speechless. He was a domineering CEO, yet he was killed by a little brat. This was intolerable. He was going to order a super large water gun when he got back. Shui came out of the pool with her hands against the wall, her forearms showing smooth and distinct lines. Xianxia immediately handed her a towel, but there were still some viewers who were watching the live stream who quickly took screenshots. "Damn, these lines, these silhouettes. Sisters, there's a surprise after the zoom. Ah, should I say, he's indeed Shuri." I cover my best friend's mouth tightly to stop her from squawking by the pool. Shui was casually drying her hair when Xianxia asked, "What do you want to drink? Any recommendations?" Xianxia immediately got into character. "Sir, this is the peach sparkling water I recommend for you. It has ice cubes and peppermint grass. Not only does it have the sweetness of the peach, but it also has the sourness of the bubbles. It also has a refreshing feeling." Shui's eyes were gentle. "Okay, that's it." Xianxia continued to act. "Sir, can you give me your contact information?" Was Little Rabbit trying to put on a show? "Sorry, I already have a girlfriend. She's prettier than you, so please don't disturb me." Puff. Xianxia couldn't help but laugh. "What else do you want to act? It's free of charge, and I'm looking forward to it." Shui's answer attracted a lot of praise from the audience. All straight men should learn. This is the standard answer. Copying homework. I'm going to trick my boyfriend later. Ha, untimely 99. Please continue to show off your affection day after day. Have you guys seen Weibo? Master Yin has issued a challenge to Sister Yi. Master Yin? Let's go watch the show now. Everyone searched for Master Yin, and the relevant Weibo immediately popped up. Master Yin, successor of the Yin school. Young man, you're plagiarizing my school's swordsmanship, Tai Chi, and other techniques. This is intolerable. Let's have a showdown tomorrow. Do you dare? Xianxia v. Chapter 708. The netizens were confused. Who is this person? Immediately, a class representative came out to speak. Master Yin is a famous martial arts master and a contracted streamer of fan streaming. He's good at Yan's swordsmanship, Yan's Tai Chi, and other martial arts, self-proclaimed. He has opened several martial arts schools in China, all closed down. He has challenged and defeated more than a dozen domestic and foreign masters, all unknown. In conclusion, I suggest you don't treat him as a martial arts master. You'll be surprised if you treat him as a comedic streamer. Everyone was speechless. So he's just a clown? But soon, everyone realized that the internet was vast and full of strange things. Master Yin really had a lot of loyal fans, and they were especially aggressive. Master Yan's swordsmanship and swordsmanship are all passed down from the Yin family. Xianxia is a thief. Stealing without asking is called stealing. Stealing without returning is called shameless. She's a beauty, but why is she so cheap? If she's not guilty, why doesn't she dare to accept Master Yan's tactics? Of course, she's afraid of him. The netizens' reactions were, well, as long as you guys are happy. Although they couldn't bear to watch it, they really couldn't. Everyone thought it was just a farce, but they didn't expect Rin Daozhong to be a surfer too. After going ashore and scrolling through Weibo, he was filled with righteous indignation. Nonsense. What nonsense? Release his mother's dog. Cough, cough, cough. Li Jinyu, who had a strong desire to survive, coughed violently to remind him. Rin Daozhong changed his words. Release his mother's dog. I'll help him. After all, I think he has nothing better to do. It could be said to be very civilized. Xianxia took a look at Weibo and responded calmly. I'm not interested in fighting and killing. Is it because my cooking isn't good enough? Or is sure you're not cute enough? Good time should be spent playing the piano, reading books, learning medicine, and gardening, not wasting it on such boring people. Xiang Feng said, Tisk, such people are just clowns. Don't bother. Rin Daozhong's phone vibrated. He refreshed it and found that Master Yin had updated his status. This time, it was even more hostile and seemed to be a personal attack. Yin Min's descendant Master Yin V. Since you're a girl, I won't argue with you. But if you have a man in your family, I'll fight with you. Or let your boyfriend do it. But your son and your boyfriend don't have any balls, right? You look like a pretty boy in the photo. Forgive me for being blunt, but I can take on 10 of you at once. After reading this, Daoist Rin felt that the atmosphere around him had changed. The source of the change was the uncle and nephew of the Xiang clan. Xiang Feng was the first to jump up. Where's my knife? Where's my saber? Ah, how dare you scold my family? I'm the only one who can scold my family, understand? Xiangyi's delicate little face was calm. She looked very calm and steady, but when she spoke, she was extremely valiant. The girl looked up at the camera with her clear doe eyes, her gaze firm and sharp. Just because I don't like fighting and killing doesn't mean that I'm afraid of fighting and killing. Reason should be talked to. Since reason doesn't work, then I'll try peaceful means before resorting to force. Let him decide the time and place. I'll accompany you to the end. The staff at the scene were all shocked by Xiangyi's imposing manner. Oh my God, why does the gentle and gentle sister Yi have such a domineering side to her? The viewers in the live stream were all dumbfounded. Oh my God, how is this Sister E? This is Brother E, Daddy E. Chapter 709. When Master Yin received the news, he was also a little dumbfounded. In reality, his martial arts club wasn't run well, and he had lost a lot of money. Later on, he relied on being an internet celebrity to reap the benefits. Xiangyi actually agreed to the challenge? This was really beyond his expectations. However, Master Yin smiled contemptuously and didn't take Xiangyi seriously. She's just a young girl. Even if she started practicing martial arts in her mother's womb, she's definitely no match for me. Hashtag Xianxia agrees to the challenge. Hashtag this term quickly became a hot search and caused a heated discussion among netizens. Some of the netizens were just watching it as a joke, while others were seriously evaluating the combat effectiveness of the two of them. Master Yin may always say some strange things to gain popularity, but his strength is really impressive. He has been practicing martial arts since he was a child. I don't think I need to remind you of the importance of the virgin martial arts, right? Our sister E isn't bad either. I feel that Sister E is the type of person in Wuxia novels who is agile. She has quick reflexes and is good at using softness to overcome strength. She's no match for Master Yin. Xianxia, 5 stars in agility, 3 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. Master Yin, 5 stars in agility, 5 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. From a probability point of view, I think Master Yin will win. Those who said that Sister E has 3 stars in strength, haven't you seen the video of her stabbing a mountain peak? The wooden sword pierced through the snake's body and into the tree. She definitely has inner strength. The two sides were arguing endlessly. This night was destined to be chaotic. The next day, Xianxia had a very regular routine. She woke up early in the morning and exercised for a while before watering the flowers and plants. When she was almost done watering, Shui also came back from her morning run. After making eye contact, Xianxia said, "I just saw the news on Weibo. Master Yin has already booked the location for his new martial arts club. I'll go there myself later." Shui said, "I'll go with you." No, I can handle it." In fact, the young girl was still a little worried about losing. She had never had the chance to test her combat effectiveness. Therefore, Xianxia was not sure what level she was at in this world. In any case, she felt that the most powerful and cruel person in the world was her big brother. Compared to her brother, she would always be a rookie. "Do you really think I'm a gigolo?" Shui walked closer and flicked her forehead, which was as smooth as porcelain. "Your boyfriend is not as weak as you think. He wasn't made of paper. He was just joking around with the little girl, but he felt that Xianxia really treated him as little Jiao. Xianxia said embarrassedly, "I'm not questioning you. I just don't want to embarrass myself in front of you." Shui said with a faint smile, "You lost. I'll avenge you." Xianxia asked straightforwardly, "What if we both die? Then I'll take the beating with you?" Xianxia imagined the scene of her and Shui supporting each other with bruised faces after being violently beaten up. Sigh, "I feel like I'm going to be miserable." "Sister E, Daddy Sure, get ready. We're going to start the live stream." Li Jinyu and the staff adjusted the equipment, made a hand gesture, and then turned on the live stream. There were hundreds of thousands of loyal fans waiting for the live stream. Seeing the screen lit up, everyone came out to cheer for Xianxia. However, there are also people who raise concerns. Master Yin has dozens of masters and disciples in his martial arts club. Our sister, he only has a few people. I feel like we've lost in terms of momentum. Chapter 710. Yes, even with Shui, Daoist Ren, and Yu, there were only 4 of them. Achoo! Xiang Feng sneezed and walked out of the villa, yelling, "Don't think of secretly leaving me behind." He had a habit of staying up late, and making him wake up early was worse than not eating junk food for a month. But even so, Xiang Feng still stubbornly got out of bed. Moreover, he had changed into a t-shirt that people rushed over overnight. The front was printed with "Tutu is invincible," and the back was "I am your father." It was a combination of support and hatred, a vivid interpretation of what it meant to make the best use of everything. Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. So there was still President Xiang. She hadn't almost forgotten about him. She had completely forgotten about him. For some reason, President Xiang never had a sense of presence. "I'll go with you." Daoistron followed closely behind, carrying a peachwood sword on his back and holding a white horsetail whisk in his hand. He smiled slightly and said, "Xianxia, if you don't mind, I'm willing to hold the fort for you." In addition, he had also prepared a small surprise for Xianxia. "I want to go too." A soft voice came from Yu. The little boy was very good at taking care of himself. He dressed and washed up on his own, and even carried a small school bag on his back. However, there were a few strands of hair on his head that were sticking up, making him look extremely adorable. Sensing everyone's intentions, Xianxia felt a warmth in her heart. Then let's go together. If she was embarrassed, so be it. She would just take it as a day trip. Xianxia went to change her clothes. Xiangfeng stayed where he was, urging Taoist Ren and Shiyu to change into the support t-shirts, but was naturally rejected by the two. Since the adults couldn't handle it, Xiangfeng chuckled and reached out his claws to Shiyu. The audience who saw this scene had mixed feelings. There are finally 5 people. Including the staff, there should be about 10 or so, right? But it feels like an amateur team challenging the national team. Xiangfeng is unreliable, but he really doesn't disappoint me. Let Shiyu go, he's still a child. Wow, Xiangyu's livestream is so good at riding on people's coattails. He even started a live stream for Master Yin. He's trying to steal the traffic. At this moment in the dojo, the staff of Sanyu Broadcasting had arrived at the scene last night and had installed cameras from many angles. The webpage and the app had pop-up recommendations to ensure that users would be able to see Master Yan's live broadcast once they clicked on it. There was no other reason other than the fact that DNU Livestream and Xianxia Livestream were competitors. This time, the battle between Xianxia and Master Yin was undoubtedly a great opportunity for them to fight for viewership. They had already designed a whole set of packaging and marketing plans for Master Yin, intending to push him to become a top internet celebrity. Then, they would imitate 2 under one roof and create a daily variety show in the martial arts center. Every episode, they would invite guests to learn martial arts. After learning, they would cook some delicious food, and after cooking, they would chat about life. Who knows, maybe they'll go viral all over the internet and successfully get promoted to the stars. Then, they'll export overseas and take down 2 under one roof. Master Yin understood that black and red were also red. As soon as the live broadcast started, he began to say some controversial words. I advise women not to learn martial arts. It's better for them to stay at home and take care of their husbands and children. They should just do the laundry and cook. Otherwise, you'll end up like Xianxia and be disfigured by me later. I suggest that she call her brothers and boyfriends over. Even if they attack me together, I have a way to deal with it. I'll definitely be unscathed. You guys don't have to worry about whether I can win or not. What you should worry about is whether Xianxia can afford to lose. I think she can afford to lose. Chapter 711. Stirring up conflict was always the easiest way to stir up conflict. Nowadays, the simplest thing on the internet was gender. However, as soon as these comments came out, the netizens' emotions were stirred up. Some people cursed at Master Yin, while others clapped their hands and cheered, feeling that Master Yin had spoken their minds. The public opinion instantly turned into a debate about whether women should be good husbands and raise children. Everyone had their own opinions and was in a heated argument. The person in charge of the live stream was also at the scene and naturally turned a blind eye to Master Yan's behavior. Anyway, it was fine as long as there was traffic. What was so important about anything else? There were 2 tablets in front of him that were playing 2 under one roof and Master Yan's live stream at the same time. Seeing that Xianxia and the others were about to arrive at the martial arts center, the person in charge gave the order with a confident smile on his face. Soon, Xianxia would experience what it meant to be crushed. The black van stopped in front of the martial arts center. In order to promote the martial arts center, Master Yin made the address public, and there was a huge crowd at the scene. Fortunately, Ruanqing had the foresight to find an official and private security company to maintain order. Xianxia got out of the car. She was dressed in a white sportswear, looking clean and youthful. There was a heated discussion in the crowd. Wow, she's indeed a celebrity. She's so beautiful in person. Sister Yi's face is so small. I feel like my face is twice as big as hers. I feel good watching live streams. She's too skinny. She can't take a beating. After Shui got out of the car, the cheers at the scene reached a peak. In addition to the strong popularity, many of Shui's sisters also rushed to the scene. Shui. Hearing a few hysterical voices, Shui's gaze fell on the crowd, and he gently gestured for them to keep quiet. As if by magic, the crowd really quieted down, Shui nodded slightly as a form of greeting. There was nothing wrong with her etiquette and demeanor. Everyone entered the martial arts center. Xianxia and the others were all dressed in sportswear and were dressed casually. Obviously, they didn't take the battle very seriously. However, Master Yin was different. He was wearing a black practice suit with golden embroidery on it. It looked quaint and textured. His disciples, on the other hand, were all dressed in white training clothes with black belts around their waists. They looked very ostentatious. The audience in the live stream could clearly feel the difference. U1S1, Master Yin, and the others are really impressive. Sister E and the others are too shabby. They're completely relying on their looks. Ha ha ha. Shiryu has nothing left to live for. He's wearing that I am your father t-shirt until it's almost up to his ankles. Master Yin looks Xianxia up and down, his nostrils overflowing with a light sneer. You? Little girl, I advise you to go back and practice. Do you know how to do the horse dance? Can you do it for half an hour at a time? What you plagiarized was only my school of Yan swordsmanship and Tai Chi, but the true essence of my school of Yin is the basics. Xianxia interrupted him. If you want to fight, then fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Master Yin flew into a rage out of humiliation. Young man, you don't understand etiquette. You don't have any morals. The dozens of disciples behind him also pointed at Xianxia and mocked her. All of a sudden, Taoist Rin said loudly, before the official competition, let's welcome fellow Taoist men from Baiyun Temple, fellow Taoist Su from Jade Spring Temple, fellow Taoist Yu from Yongla Palace. Master Yin was speechless. What? You're calling for external help? Chapter 712. He looked at the door with a dumbfounded expression. Several Taoist priests and Taoist nuns, who were either dressed in Taoist robes or training attire, entered. Those who were familiar with contemporary Taoist culture would know that they were all big shots. There was an uproar in the live stream. Wow. Are these Taoist priests here to watch the battle? Impressive, they actually managed to invite so many big shots. I wonder who they're doing this for. Is it Sister E or Master Yin? Taoist Rin was still introducing them loudly. Fellow Taoist Zhang from Mount Song Temple. Fellow Taoist Wang from Yellow Dragon Temple. Master Yan's fans immediately rushed to comment in the live stream. These experts are obviously here for our Master Yin. Xianxia is just a woman. How could she possibly know people of this level? Master Yin has traveled the world and has a wide range of friends. It's normal for him to have some friends to help him in the battle. They said it confidently, but they were immediately slapped in the face. After listening to Taoist Rin's eloquent recitation of dozens of names, Taoist Rin leisurely said, "Thank you, fellow Taoists, for coming to support our little friend Xianxia." There was an uproar. These Taoist priests are all here for Xianxia? In other words, these big shots are all here to support Xianxia? Xianxia herself was quite confused. Her little head, which was tied into a bun, tilted as she curiously sized up the people who had come. These new Taoist priests looked at Xianxia with a very friendly gaze. Although it was their first time meeting her, they seemed to have seen Xianxia many times. Little friend Xianxia, do your best and don't have any regrets. Calm your mind and don't let the outside world disturb you. It doesn't matter if you lose. In life, let nature take its course and let fate take its course. A lot of chicken soup for the soul was sent to Xianxia. Xianxia, thank you. The live stream viewers? Sister E is so popular. Oh my God, who said Sister E doesn't have any face? With dozens of Taoist priests, I just want to ask who does? Who? Master Yin is so lowly, I feel like his disciples are extras hired for 50 yuan a day. Sister E is a gathering of big shots. Grandmaster Yin steadied his heart and opened his mouth to distort the truth. You think that by using such methods to pressure me, I will waver? You're underestimating the martial artists of the Yin sect. I'll never give in the dark. The expressions of the disciples behind him changed. As expected of Master, Xiang Feng rolled his eyes and ridiculed. Can you cut down on your acting? Let me tell you, when it comes to acting, we have professionals here. Shui Master Yin shivered when he met Shui's gaze. For some reason, the young man's gaze made his heart palpitate for no reason. His aura was too terrifying. Master Yin avoided Shui's gaze and cupped his hands at Xianxia. I'm Yin Dazhuang from the sect of the Yin sect. Please enlighten me. Xianxia, what a ritualistic gesture. She was about to say a few perfunctory words when her uncle Xiangfeng beat her to it. She's the successor of the god of cookery, the personal disciple of the medical sage, the giver of the muse, the girl of magic, the queen of martial arts, the guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm. It's her, Xianxia. Master Yin? Everyone. The livestream viewers? Xianxia was so embarrassed that she wanted to dig out a demon immortal castle with her toes. Chapter 713. After Xiangfeng finished bragging, he still felt like he hadn't had enough. My little niece is the cutest and most outstanding kid in the world. I can't praise her too much. Sure you, who was at the side, nodded repeatedly. Yes, Grandpa is right. Sister Xianxia is just that good. The comment section of the live stream was filled with laughter. I'm laughing so hard that my head is about to explode. It's such a pity that Mr. Xiang isn't a talk show host. The magical girl, the martial arts queen, the guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm. Haha. After the exchange of moves, Master Yin began his performance. He first got into a horse stance, then pushed forward with both hands, looking like he was trying to circulate his qi. Xianxia had developed a good habit of being cautious when she transmigrated, which was not to underestimate any opponent, even if the other party looked weak. She observed Master Yin and did not act rashly. However, the other party's behavior confused her greatly. After circulating his qi, Master Yin circled around her again and again. From time to time, he would make strange sounds like meh and hiya. Xianxia was speechless. The girl frowned. She suspected that the other party was pretending to be a tactic. He was pretending to be crazy to hide his true strength. But in fact, he was waiting for an opportunity to kill her in one blow. Master Yan's fans thought so too. You guys think Master Yan is on the first floor, but you don't know that he's on the 5th floor. He's predicting Xianxia's movements. With this kind of strength, he's probably a peerless expert, a half-step master. Seeking changes, Master Yan's skills have improved again. Through rapid movements, he could deduce mysterious countermeasures. With his basic skills and flexible fighting style, Master Yin is in the bag. However, in the eyes of most people, the battle between the two of them was so boring. Please, Sister E, move. Please, Master Yin, stop circling around. Some haters who didn't mind watching the show roared in the comment section. You guys can't kill him like this? Xiangfeng was extremely nervous and kept asking Shui, how is it? Do you think little Xianxia can beat this old man? Shui looked at him quietly. For some reason, Xiangfeng saw a trace of pity in his eyes. Daoist Run and the others had a rough idea of what was going on. This Grandmaster Yin was just a pretty face. He reckoned that he had Tongzi Gong, but it was obvious that he had abandoned it. His footsteps were light and his lower body was unstable. It was obvious that he had abandoned himself to the world of mortals and had abandoned practicing martial arts. Although it looked imposing, it was only enough to scare a layman. It's not too late for you to admit defeat now. Master Yin roared. Xianxia? ? Was he going to use his mouth to attack? Master Yin thought that he had confused Xianxia, so he threw a punch at Xianxia's face. Xianxia dodged sideways. Because of Master Yan's action, an argument broke out in the live stream. Some people felt that no matter what, they shouldn't hit someone in the face, not to mention that Xianxia was an artist. There were also some people who felt that a martial arts competition was a martial arts competition. Was there a need to differentiate between men and women, old and young? The two of them exchanged a few moves. Basically, it was Master Yin attacking and Xianxia defending. Master Yin was ecstatic. He won. He definitely won. This Xianxia was obviously a noob. With a sudden scream, Master Yin was kicked to the ground by Xianxia. He lay on the ground, unable to move. The audience was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Xianxia had KO'd Master Yin with one move. The little girl looked confused and muttered to herself, That's it. Chapter 714. No, this must be a tactic. There must be a backup plan. The girl calmed herself down and looked serious, ready to land the killing blow at any time. But 1 second passed, 10 seconds passed, half a minute passed in the blink of an eye. Master Yin was still lying on the ground like he was dead. The live stream viewers, what's going on? Is he dead? Sister Yi's flying kick was so cool. I want to learn that. What happened to being the successor of Yin School? That's it. That's it. Is she made of paper? The referee was invited by Master Yin. He originally wanted to be biased towards Master Yin, but in the face of everyone's burning gazes, he blushed. Ahem. I announced that Xianxia is the winner of this match. The verdict was final. Xianxia was even more confused as confusion appeared on her milky white face. I won. The girl's reaction was so adorable. Sister E is super cute, super dumb, and super fierce, ha ha ha. Master Yan's disciples were all dumbfounded. No way. Master lost just like that? The person in charge of DNU livestream fell into a chair. It's over. His face was pale as his lips quivered. DNU livestream had spent a lot of manpower, material, and financial resources to promote this match. He even promised his boss that through this livestream, DNU livestream would attract traffic and create a popular livestream variety show. But now, it had become a farce. Grandmaster Yin was simply like a jumping clown, and he was a big idiot who had been played by a clown. Xiang Feng shouted, "Hey, the outcome has been decided. Old man, hurry up and get up. Don't try to scam us." Master Yin still did not move. His disciples reacted and wailed loudly, "Master!" Everyone gathered around, only to find that Master Yin had fainted. For a moment, the scene was filled with people pinching each other and dialing 120. It was chaos. Finally, Master Yin slowly regained consciousness. With the help of his disciples, he barely managed to stand up. As soon as he opened his mouth, he scolded, "Young man, you sneak attacked me when I wasn't paying attention. I was careless and didn't dodge. Martial artists of our generation should stand in the open. Humph, I advise you to take care of yourself. The 30,000 disciples of the Gate of Yin will not let you go." Xianxia, question mark. Grandpa, you're obviously trying to blackmail me. Just as the young lady was speechless, her uncle had already pulled her down to the ground. Xiang Feng spouted some nonsense with a straight face. "Io, your skills are really impressive, old man." He had actually transformed his external strength into internal strength. It was truly terrifying. Damn it, he actually used his internal energy to sneak attack us. Master Yin. F***K. When did I have internal strength? You little bastard. Beep. Infuriate this old man to death. Beep. Ah. Countless silenced profanities flashed through Master Yan's mind like a bullet screen. Shi Yu's eyes widened. Xiang Feng's actions were completely different from the gentlemanly education he had received. It had a strong impact on his worldview. However, for Sister Xianxia, the little Shota clenched his little fists and quickly lay down beside Xiang Feng and Xianxia. Looking at the three people lying down neatly, Master Yin and his disciples were dumbfounded. However, this scene poked at countless people's funny spots. The popularity of the live stream did not decrease, but instead increased. The number of viewers was even higher than when Xianxia and Master Yin fought. Xiang Feng, forever a god in the Punxi world. Shi Yu is also lying down. This child has been led astray. Oh my god. It's okay to scam each other. Ha ha. Chapter 715. Master Yin reacted and was so angry that his beard and hair stood on end. You young people don't talk about martial arts ethics. The next second, Xiang Feng screamed, "Ah, Master Yin, you actually plotted against us again." Shi Yu also shouted expressionlessly, "Ah." It was very soulless. Xianxia, the little girl, had a hard time holding back her laughter. Her slender shoulders trembled. Master Yin was about to go crazy. "What evidence do you have to prove that I hurt you? You're playing me." The next second, a series of low coughs could be heard. That sound seemed to be the result of trying hard to be surprised but unable to control it. There was a trace of vulnerability in the pitiful voice, a trace of strength in the vulnerability, and a trace of pain in the strength. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw Sway's slender fingertips on his lips. His peach blossom eyes were stained with water vapor, dark and wet. Sensing everyone's gaze, he raised his eyes and struggled to pull the corners of his mouth. He frowned uncomfortably and said, "Master Yin, you're right. You didn't use your internal strength to sneak an attack on us. See, there's finally someone who understands." Did you hear what he said? Master Yin was anxious to seek confirmation from others. Little did he know, the netizens who thought he was a fool just now felt that Master Yin was something. Otherwise, why would Sway be like this? At a glance, it was obvious that he had suffered internal injuries, but he was still holding it in. He must have said that on purpose for Xianxi's sake. He was afraid that Xianxia would be hurt by Master Yin again. This kind of spirit of loving his girlfriend more than his face was too touching. Even Master Yan's disciples were shaken. Could it be that Master really had internal strength? So all this time, Master had been holding back from us? Was he pretending? Many people instantly felt alienated from Master Yin. Even the onlooking staff couldn't help but point at him. It's a little too much. Master Yin is too much of a bully. He even said that Sister Yi sneaked an attack. I think he was the one who did it. Master Yin was about to vomit blood. He said that I don't have internal strength. I didn't sneak an attack on them. Unfortunately, when it came to acting, a certain best actor was truly a professional. Even if it was just a casual performance, the sense of immersion and empathy were extremely strong. Cough, cough. Sway coughed a little harder. Her lips were pale, and she looked like she would fall to the ground in the next second. He knelt down beside Xianxia on one knee and said, "That's right, great Master Yin didn't do anything." Cough, cough, cough. "Sister Yi, are you okay? I'm sorry for not being able to protect you." Xianxia panicked. What's wrong with you?" The little girl was so concerned that she was confused and thought that he was really feeling unwell. Just as she was about to get up to take his pulse, Sway raised his hand to caress her cheek. Of course, at an angle that was not easily noticed by others, the man's palm covered her lips. He winked at the girl. "Xianxia!" Exclamation point. Very good. Her boyfriend has also learned bad things. At this time, Taoist Run and the others also spoke up. "Sai, it's just a martial arts competition. Don't go overboard, great Master Yin. Look at how badly you've hurt these young people. Don't go too far. Great Master Yin, you're attacking indiscriminately. No, I can't take it anymore." Great Master Yan's eyes were about to pop out. Damn it. What kind of lineup is this? Chapter 716. Master Yin was infuriated. The livestream viewers, on the other hand, were delighted. Haha, everyone is so evil. Master Yan's expression could be screenshotted and used as an emoji pack. I'm dying of laughter. Sway, you won the Best Actor award 3 times just to act as Master Yin today, right? It's over. The words "that's a comma," "terrifying," and "immoral" are all on repeat in my head. The person in charge of DNU Livestream realized that the popularity of the livestream was high on the internet. But, damn it, why did everyone go to Xianxia Livestream? They all went to the livestream of 2 under one roof. In fact, it could be considered a coincidence for Xianxia Livestream. The promotion of DNU Livestream had been focused on a martial arts competition in the early stages, while Xianxia Livestream promoted Sway's sister, Yi, as a one-day tour. As a result, the audience's expectations were completely different. The viewers of DNU Livestream wanted to watch the martial arts competition. Once the competition ended and Master Yin lost, it would be meaningless. However, Xianxia Livestream was different. Everyone had always watched it on that day, but they didn't expect it to be so silly. It was so funny. Life was already hard enough. What was the point of watching live streams and variety shows? Wasn't it just for fun? 2 Under One Roof had achieved that. In fact, it had reached a perfect level. It was also worth mentioning that Xianxia Livestream didn't expect DNU Livestream to lead them in the opposite direction. Perhaps Sway's sister, Yi, really has a halo of luck? At the martial arts center, Xiangfeng was worried that he would really infuriate the old man. So he found a way out and pulled his niece and the others up to leave. Now that things had gotten to this point, Master Yin had completely lost, be it in terms of face or ability. However, he was really thick-skinned and changed the angle of his attack to Xianxia. Your swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from the Yin school, so it can't be considered as my loss. At the end of the day, you used my family's inheritance to defeat me. Xianxia realized that the other party wasn't a real martial artist at all. He was just a funny clown. The girl's eyes were calm. How can you prove that my swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from your family's inheritance? Of course, Master Yin couldn't prove it. Martial arts have been passed down since ancient times. It could be said that many clans and sects had their own legacies. It was nothing more than you influencing me and I influencing you. Everyone fought together and improved. Of course, this did not exclude the existence of unique techniques. Master Yin thought he had found a way to refute Xianxia, so he asked, "Then how can you prove that you didn't plagiarize my work?" This move was too damaging and too ruthless. This was like comparing the perpetrator and the victim. They did not ask the perpetrator why he hurt others and why he did evil. Instead, he asked the victim, "Why do you think the perpetrator wanted to harm you? Why did it have to be you and not someone else?" Master Yin thought that Xianxia wouldn't be able to defend herself. Just as he was about to take advantage of the situation, he heard the girl say, "What a coincidence. I can really prove it." Master Yin was confused. Xiangfeng promptly handed over a few thick ancient books, but they were all photocopies. The original had been donated to the museum by the Xiang family. My swordsmanship and taiji were inherited from my grandfather. Tracing back hundreds of years, they are all recorded in the family tree. The netizens were shocked. Not only did she have evidence, but she also had solid evidence. Thor's hammer. Master Yin was confused. Chapter 717. Master Yin was in despair. No, he was in utter despair. He had been a scammer for many years and had never tasted defeat. But today, not only did he lose to scammers, he was even beaten to the ground. Did he say that Xianxia is a noob? In the end, he was KO. Did he say that Xianxia plagiarized? In the end, she has her own heritage. That's infuriating. The netizens laughed even more merrily because of this dramatic turn of events. Master Yin, you have to pay for what you've done. Wow, the Xiang family has a heritage of hundreds of years. Sister Yi is really rich and beautiful. Master Yin, what does it feel like to hit an iron plate? I'll show you guys now. Even if Master Yin wanted to quibble, all his words were meaningless in the face of real evidence. You plagiarized? Even if you didn't, it means that your ancestors plagiarized from our family. Anyway, the Yin school's heritage is the best. You're bullying an old man like me just because you're young. I was careless and fell into your trap. Master Yin repeated those words over and over again, but unfortunately, no one wanted to listen to him anymore. Those who tried to curry favor with others were most afraid of losing the attention of others. The way great Master Yan's disciples looked at him had changed as well. They suddenly sobered up as if the clouds had cleared. Previously, it was as if Master Yin had drugged them. Whatever he said, they believed it to be true. In fact, after thinking about it carefully, they realized that his words couldn't withstand the scrutiny of logic at all. At this moment, Master Yin had yet to realize that today was an important turning point in his life. From an internet celebrity to an internet hater, retribution has finally come. Xianxia had no intention of arguing with Master Yin anymore. She had used her martial prowess to defend her dignity and also used solid evidence to prove her innocence. That was enough. Shall we go out to eat today? I know a good private restaurant where I can invite all of you to have a taste, Xianxia suggested. The Taoist masters were particularly interested in her talismans, so they naturally agreed. At the door, a clear voice of a young man suddenly sounded. "Miss Xiang, please wait." This voice sounded a little familiar. Xianxia turned her head and saw a tall figure hurrying through the crowd. It was a young man of about 17 or 18 years old. He was wearing a clean navy blue training suit with a long sword on his back. He had delicate facial features and fair skin. His expression was gentle and shy. Xianxia recognized him. "Xu Xinglan, Speaking of which, the two families could be considered old friends. The Xiang clan had practiced medicine for many generations, and had also passed down sword manuals, fist techniques, and the like, but most of them were used to strengthen the body. The Shu clan was different. Basically, the entire clan was a martial arts fanatic. In ancient times, they had founded a sect, and now they had opened a martial arts dojo. Xiangyi and Shu Xinglan had met a few times, and he didn't talk much. At most, he would say a few words about swordsmanship. "Hello, Miss Xiang." Shu Xinglan cautiously nodded her head in greeting and cupped her fists toward Xiangyi. "Es long time no see. Es sorry for offending you. Can I have a match with you?" The young man's eyes were full of bright light. Shi Sui squinted slightly and decided not to make a move for the time being. However, the audience in the live stream got excited. "I can do this, brother." He stutters nervously when he speaks. I'm dead." You women have double standards. Luning stutters too. Why isn't anyone praising him? Such a cute brother. Sister E is going to beat him to tears. Hurry up. Chapter 718. Are you the devil? There was a huge increase in traffic to Xianxia's live stream, and the comment section of the live stream was extremely lively. However, the online traffic of Pianyu's live stream dropped again and again. No one wanted to see Master Yin quibble in a pathetic state. Since Pianyu had signed a contract with Master Yin, the cameras were all facing him. What the netizens wanted to see was the battle between Xiangyi and Shu Xinglan. Hence, the heartless netizens began to download Xianxia's live stream on the spot, contributing another batch of users to Xianxia's live stream. Competition? Xiangyi asked in bewilderment. You should look for a professional then. She was just an amateur with mediocre skills. It was no exaggeration to say that Shu Xinglan had been practicing swordsmanship since he was a child. If there were standards for swordsmanship like other sports, he would definitely be a national team player. Shu Xinglan was speechless. Miss Xiang, do you have a serious misunderstanding about me? I've seen the video of you subduing Feng Shan. You're very impressive. Stabbing a wooden sword into a snake's body was something that anyone who practiced swordsmanship for years could do. However, piercing a tree trunk was not something that ordinary people could do. Xiangyi said, well, I just used a little bit of force. If you're interested, I can teach you how to exert force. The young man was stunned. She actually wants to teach me such a powerful technique so casually? Shu Xinglan immediately felt ashamed. His family had taught him since he was a child that swordsmanship was not to be taught to outsiders, and all the opponents he encountered also abided by this principle. He finally understood how narrow-minded he and those people were. Miss Xiang's mindset is extraordinary. Please agree to my request. The young man's fingertips trembled slightly, and he said in an embarrassed but firm tone, please. He bowed to Xiangyi. Everyone thought, wow, this young man is quite persistent. Xiangyi's cherry lips moved, but she really couldn't bring herself to turn him down. She said helplessly, okay, shall we begin now? Shu Xinglan's eyes lit up, and he nodded vigorously. Xiangyi, my little friend, I'll lend you my sword. The enthusiastic Rindaoist took out his peachwood sword and tossed it to Xiangyi. The girl casually caught it. Shu Xinglan also took out his sword. Whenever he went out, he would use a wooden sword due to the ban on weapons. The people of the Shu family loved swords to the point that they treated their swords as their wives. Therefore, even if it was a wooden sword, the scabbard was incomparably exquisite and gorgeous. The young man slowly pulled out his sword. There were patterns engraved on the blade of the sword. They were all personally carved by him, using a carving knife. Please enlighten me. You flatter me. Viewers in the live stream. Oh my God, I feel like my brother is an expert. His aura is completely different from that of Master Yin. Brother's sword is so beautiful. You want to snatch your brother's sword away? Watch him get angry and cry. Little brother seems to be a sword cultivator from a Xianxia novel. And sister E, she's so cool and beautiful when she's holding the sword. The two exchanged a few pleasantries, and without wasting any more words, they began to exchange blows. Bang! Crack! The wooden swords clashed, producing a sound that made people's hearts jump. The two silhouettes were light and agile. They moved so quickly that the camera could barely capture them. From time to time, after images would appear. Not far away, the person in charge of Jinyu Broadcasting sneered. What's so interesting about a martial arts competition? Everyone must have run away by now. The assistant at the side said shakily, I just looked at their data. Not only did they not run away, there are even more people. The person in charge was speechless. Are netizens' preferences so unpredictable these days? All of a sudden, with a loud clang, a wooden sword fell to the ground and broke. Chapter 719. For a moment, everyone's attention was drawn to the scene. Xianxia stared blankly at the broken sword on the ground and pursed her lips. The two of them were too fast. At this time, the camera happened to focus on Xianxia's back, creating a blind spot. The audience couldn't see clearly at all, and were all asking questions. Whose sword is broken? The room was extremely quiet. A moment later, a small sob sounded in everyone's ears. This voice was the camera panned and landed on Xu Xinglan. Everyone could see his expression clearly. The fair and delicate youth clenched his fists tightly. There was nothing in his hands at this time. The youth's beautiful eyes were red and misty, but he stubbornly held back his tears. He was really too pitiful. Everyone. Xu Xinglan's sword was broken. Xianxia looked at him and blamed herself. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I was too strong. I didn't expect you to... Her words came to an abrupt end. Obviously, the girl realized that what she was about to say was inappropriate. However, this had the opposite effect. Xu Xinglan's clear eyes became even redder. His thin shoulders couldn't help but tremble slightly. He bit his lip hard. He had lost, and he had lost so quickly. He had practiced swordsmanship for decades, but in front of Xianxia, he couldn't even last 20 moves. For the first time, Xu Xinglan began to doubt himself. Was he really talented in swordsmanship? Was he really capable? Could he really continue? Xianxia blamed herself. She thought that she would lose, so she wanted to give it her all and leave no regrets. But she didn't expect, her brother was a little weak. At first, she was just testing him. Later, she tried to counterattack. She didn't expect that she would accidentally, then he would win. Secondly, she accidentally broke her brother's sword. She heard that the Xu family treated their swords as their wives. This was practically the hatred of killing one's wife. If she had known, she would have gone easy on him. I was just lucky just now. Xianxia tried to salvage the situation. Why don't we do it again? This time, she would definitely use 50%. No, 10% of her strength. She originally thought that Xu Xinglan would readily agree, but she didn't expect that the youth would act as if he had been greatly insulted. His voice was tinged with an aggrieved sob. There's no need. You win. Tears quickly gathered in his eyes. The young man, who had never cried no matter how hard he trained with the sword since he was young, suddenly shed a large tear. I lost. Xianxia panicked. Why was she crying? In a live stream, countless sisters were screaming. "Oh, Sister E, well done. He's really crying now." When I see a girl crying, I want to hand her a tissue. When I see my brother crying, my heart itches. I want him to cry even harder. Doghead, little brother, I can take this crying tone. I'm sure it'll sound great on the balcony, in the study, and in the kitchen. After Xu Xinglan admitted defeat, his emotions completely collapsed. His entire person was on the verge of collapse, as if he would fall to the ground at any moment. Xianxia hurriedly touched her pocket. Fortunately, she had brought a lot of sweets to Kokshiryu. Just as she was about to give them to Xu Xinglan, her small hand was suddenly wrapped by a pair of large hands. In the next second, his fair and well-defined fingers slowly took the sweets from her hand, and at the same time, gently rubbed the girl's soft palm. It was slightly ticklish. Xianxia couldn't help but curl her small hand. Then, she saw Shi Sui walk up to Xu Xinglan, stuff a piece of candy into his hand, and comforted him emotionlessly. Be good, don't cry. Xianxia. It seemed like something was not quite right. Chapter 720. The girl wasn't the only one who found this scene strange. Shi Sui's words instantly caused an uproar in the live streaming room. Huh? Sure, Ingdi, there's something wrong with you. Black-bellied best actor, X, pitiful sword cultivator. DBQ, I could do it again. Although I know this D*MN man is jealous and doesn't want Sister E to give him candies, I still feel like I've bumped into him. Xu Xinglan looked away and said stubbornly, I don't need anyone's pity. If his voice had not been sobbing, perhaps this sentence would have been more convincing. Shi Sui said indifferently, Why should I pity you? Do you think Sister E is also very pitiful? Xu Xinglan subconsciously retorted, I didn't. In my eyes, you are Sister Yi's opponent, an opponent worthy of respect. Victory and defeat are common occurrences. Why should we be bothered by temporary gains and losses? And in Xu Xinglan's eyes, the man in front of him was handsome, noble, cultured, and elegant. His temperament was as warm as the spring breeze in March. Every word he said seemed to touch the bottom of his heart. This brother was such a nice person. He subconsciously let down his guard and muttered, Miss Xiang, you've made me understand today that I'm just a frog at the bottom of a well. She's a mountain that I can't climb over. What was even more terrifying than the attack was the dimensional reduction attack. You struggled with all your might, but the other party only took out a small piece of paper, and it was more crushing than Mount Tai. Shi Sui smiled and gave him a heartwarming speech. You're still young and have a bright future. How do you know what you'll be like in the future? The naive young man who had been obsessed with swords since he was a child had no idea what Shi Sui was thinking. This little brat is really annoying. Understand. Xu Xinglan lowered her head in shame and clenched her fists tightly. I won't give up. One day, I'll challenge Miss Xiang again. What brother meant was that as long as she worked hard, she would have a chance to surpass Miss Xiang. It was true that listening to a wise man's words was better than studying for 10 years. The youth felt that today's harvest was too great. Not only did he realize that there was always someone better than him out there in terms of swordsmanship, he also felt enlightened in terms of thoughts. The way Xu Xinglan looked at Shi Sui gradually became bright and full of worship. That, your sword. Xiangyi picked up the broken sword and said apologetically, I'm sorry. How about I give you a wife? Shi Sui was confused. Everyone? ? Sister E, what kind of dangerous statement is this? Zai, Mommy won't allow you to two-time. No. So, is Sister E planning to compensate her brother with herself or Shurindi? Little brother. Only children make choices. I want them all. The livestream room was bustling with activity, and the number of views was breaking records. Someone edited the video of the battle between Xiangyi and Xu Xinglan and named it Contemporary Swordsman Online Battle. It instantly became popular and received more than 100,000 likes. In addition, the interactive clips of Xiangyi x Xu Xinglan and Shi Sui x Xu Xinglan also became popular. There were now 2 more evil cult couples at the martial arts center. Xu Xinglan said embarrassedly, It's all right. I'm not as skilled as her. How can that do? You have to compensate her. Xu Xinglan pursed her lips and said, If Miss Xiang insists on compensating, then someone shouted, Compensate me with a husband. Everyone burst into laughter. Xu Xinglan's face turned red and she waved her hands repeatedly. No. Chapter 721. Someone continued to kick up a fuss. Sister E, compensate him with Shi Sui. With a sullen face, Xiangyi grabbed Shi Sui's hand and said fiercely, No, he's mine. She looked especially adorable when she was being serious, and she instantly won the hearts of her fans. Kawaii. My daughter is so kawaii. Hey, she's declaring her sovereignty. She's the domineering Xiang E today. Is it popular to lure dogs in and kill them now? If I'm guilty, the law will punish me instead of letting me watch them display their affection for each other. The tips of Xu Xinglan's ears turned red. I don't want anything else. I just want a promise from Miss Xiang. Huh? Xiangyi was stunned. Xu Xinglan said, I want Miss Xiang to promise me that you'll compete with me again in the future. His eyes were full of anticipation as he bowed deeply to Xiangyi. Please. Xiangyi was speechless. This child has to change his habit of bowing at the drop of a hat. Sure, you can compete with me as many times as you want. Xianxia said good-naturedly. As long as I'm free, I'll keep you company. Xu Xinglan was extremely excited, as if he had won 5 million yuan in the lottery. At this moment, a discordant voice sounded. How much longer are you guys planning to stay here? The displeased voice came from Master Yin. He felt that Xianxia and Xu Xinglan had stolen all the limelight from him. Xu Xinglan was shy as he bowed and said, "Sorry to disturb you." Xianxia called her uncle and the others to leave. They're finally gone. Master Yin grumbled. They've seriously affected the progress of our class. Okay, everyone, pack up. I'm going to start today's lesson. The person in charge of the live stream almost vomited blood on the spot. When Xianxia and the others were around, there was still some traffic in the live stream. Now that they had left, the traffic plummeted. In less than 2 minutes, the traffic was already so bad that it was impossible to watch. Is this Master Yin a fool? Who wants to watch him in class? Everyone wanted to watch Xianxia and Shi Sui. However, it was too late. After Xianxia and Shi Sui left, the number of viewers in the live streaming room decreased. Most of Great Master Yan's disciples didn't cooperate with him like they usually did. Instead, they looked at each other and exchanged glances. After a while, people in the crowd spoke up one after another. Well, I just remembered that I still have to pick up the kids. I'll leave first. By the way, I heard that it's going to rain today. I have to hurry back and pack my blanket. My stomach doesn't feel well. Excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom. In the blink of an eye, at least half of the crowd had left. Master Yan's expression changed greatly. He forced himself to remain calm and pretended to be profound as he said, "Some people left not because I didn't want them to stay, but because they pursued the wrong path. I believe that those who stayed behind are all sincere in their desire to learn our Yin school's legacy." "Can I get a refund if I don't want to learn?" a sloppy disciple asked. Master Yin glared at him. "Are you betraying your sect? I don't want to learn anymore. What's wrong with asking for my tuition fees back?" The disciple retorted. Someone immediately responded, Yes, refund. Hurry up and refund, or we'll call the Consumer Association. You can teach whoever you want. Anyway, I don't want to learn from you." Master Yan's vision darkened, and he almost fainted on the spot. He was filled with guilt and regret. If he could do it all over again, he definitely wouldn't find trouble with Xianxia. At the same time, outside the martial arts center. Chapter 722. Considering the large number of people, Xiangfeng arranged for a bus on the bus. All the Taoist masters got on the bus. The onlookers were amazed and took out their cell phones to take photos. Sister E is really impressive. She actually managed to invite so many Taoist masters to help her. Little did they know, that wasn't Xianxia who invited them at all. It was the Taoist masters who took the initiative to come. At a private restaurant, the manager of this restaurant and Xiangfeng were childhood friends. Today, he specially cleared the place to receive Xiangfeng and the others. The weather was good, so everyone sat in the courtyard. They lit up the lanterns, and the light was hazy. There was a gentle breeze, and the fragrance of the lotus flowers wafted in the air. The audience found it enjoyable to watch the live broadcast, as if the rhythm of life had slowed down. Xianxia and the Taoist masters discussed the talismans. Due to the thin spiritual energy, the talismans did not have much of a reaction. They existed more as a cultural symbol. In addition to discussions, they also drew on the spot. Xiangfeng looked at his little niece, who was like the moon surrounded by stars, and happily discussed with Shi Sui beside him. "Look at little Xianxia. Doesn't she look like she was forced to perform in front of the elders during the new year and was forced to open for business?" Thinking of the past, Shi Sui smiled. He remembered that one year, when the young lady came to pay New Year's greetings, she wore 2 ponytails and sang softly to the elders. She was so adorable. The crowd burst into exclamations from time to time. "Amazing! It's amazing! Xianxia can actually draw so many talismans in one go. She's really amazing." Sigh. I suddenly realized that I'm not only lacking a hand, but also a brain. On the other side, Shi Yu and Xu Xinglan sat side by side, eating milk candy. Xu Xinglan looked at Xianxia from afar with admiration in her eyes. She sighed softly and said, Miss Yang is so amazing, Sure you said coldly. She has a boyfriend. Xu Xinglan said, I don't want her to be my girlfriend. Sure you chewed on the candy and said expressionlessly, My uncle has a girlfriend too. Xu Xinglan was speechless. Little kid, are you misunderstanding something? The sword is his wife. I have many, many swords. Taking advantage of the fact that there was no one around, Xu Xinglan straightened his chest and showed Shiryu the photo of the sword. He showed off a little childishly. This is my first wife, second wife, and third wife. Shiryu said, Brother, you're such a playboy. Xu Xinglan corrected him. This isn't called being a playboy. Having a lot of girlfriends is called being a playboy. Shiryu said, Then you can have a girlfriend. Xu Xinglan said seriously, No, women will affect the speed at which I draw my sword. The conversation between the adult and the child was completely recorded by the camera. In the live stream, everyone was amused by Xu Xinglan's words. Ha, so his wife is a sword. Let the two little brothers keep chatting. I won't be annoyed even if I watch it for a day. What the F***CK? Women can affect the speed at which I draw my sword. Brother, you're destined to be alone for the rest of your life. At this moment, the store manager came over to apologize to Xianxia. I'm sorry, there are 2 chefs on break today. Plus, we have a lot of customers here, so the kitchen can't handle it all. It might take a little longer to serve the dishes. Are you short of a chef? A voice as gentle as the sound of nature rang out. The store manager replied without hesitation, Of course, we're short of one, but it's not easy to find one. I happen to know how to cook a little. The store manager turned his head and made eye contact with Xianxia. He didn't watch the live stream and was extremely surprised at this moment. Miss Xiang, you actually know how to cook? Chapter 723. He had heard of the Xiang family's tradition of doting on their daughters. Shouldn't the little girl who's the apple of their eye be pampered and live a pampered life? Xianxia smiled and said, It's just a hobby of mine, so I spent some time studying it. The pop-up comments in the live stream were neat and tidy. It's nothing, sister. He only knows how to cook a little. The store manager said cautiously. Then, I'll have to trouble you, Miss Xiang. He looked at Xianxia, afraid that his friend would disagree. To his surprise, Xianfeng's eyes lit up and he exclaimed, Little Xianxia, I want to eat fried chicken. The store manager was speechless. Could it be that the rumors are false? Okay. The young lady was very polite and courteous. After greeting Taoist Run and the others, she went to the kitchen. In the kitchen, the head chef was giving instructions to the chefs under him. Due to the lack of manpower, the kitchen was a little chaotic at this moment. When he saw Xianxia coming in and heard that she was going to cook, the head chef immediately flew into a rage. However, he couldn't flare up because of the live stream. Miss Xiang, right? I'm sorry, but there's a lot of smoke in our kitchen. I don't want to dirty your clothes. Please wait outside for a moment. The cold dishes will be served soon. Xianxia said warmly, I see that you guys are too busy. Is there anything I can help you with? I can even cut and stir-fry vegetables. The head chef was full of disdain. This female celebrity probably only knows how to cook tomato scrambled eggs or something. She just has to show off on the live stream. My kitchen is not for people like her to gain fame. When he spoke again, the head chef inevitably said in a sarcastic tone, We don't have enough manpower. At most, the dishes will be served a little slower, but if Miss Xiang scalds your hands and scalds your face, we can't afford to take responsibility. Xianxia blinked. She wasn't someone who didn't know the ways of the world. On the contrary, she had seen countless people of all shapes and sizes in the world she transmigrated to. She just couldn't be bothered to socialize. Sensing the other party's resistance, Xianxia did not intend to persuade him. Her deer-like eyes looked around and landed on a deserted area. Can I borrow the kitchen utensils over there? She was referring to the workstations of the 2 chefs who were on leave. They had stoves, pots, and ovens. The head chef said impatiently, Since Miss Xiang insists, I have nothing else to say. You can use any ingredients and condiments you want. I just hope that Miss Xiang will pay attention to your safety and avoid any accidents in the kitchen. Xianxia nodded calmly and walked to the workbench to familiarize herself with the kitchen utensils. The head chef looked over and saw her tossing the pot and shaking the ladle. He complained softly. You're just putting on an act, not to mention the others. Just those few pots alone, the lightest one was 3 to 6 caddies, while the biggest one was over 10 caddies. This was just the quality of an empty wok. After adding the ingredients, the weight would increase. Moreover, there was also a method called tossing the pot, which was usually done with one hand. A normal person's dominant hand was their left hand. An ordinary person's wrist would feel sore just by holding it, not to mention tossing it frequently. She was such a delicate and weak little girl. With her slender arms, wouldn't her arms break if she were to toss the pot? Huh! The head chef lowered his head and busied himself with the dishes. When he finally finished preparing the cold dishes, he instructed the kitchen staff to serve the dishes and inadvertently glanced at Xianxia. In an instant, he was dumbfounded. Who could tell him why that young lady tossed the ladle so easily and casually? Moreover, she used the biggest and heaviest pot. Chapter 724. The head chef wasn't the only one who was dumbfounded. The others were also dumbfounded. Oh my God, this girl is too strong. How did she manage to cook so many dishes in the blink of an eye? Why does it feel like she's more efficient than the few of us combined? The head chef's expression changed, and he became gloomy. He was originally the sous chef of a 5-star hotel, but he was poached by the manager of this private restaurant. The benefits he received were very good. Over time, he couldn't help but become a little lazy. For example, his cooking speed had dropped a lot. Fortunately, there weren't many people in the private restaurant, so it wasn't obvious. Now that he had Xianxia, in comparison, he seemed too slow. The audience watching the live stream also noticed it. Damn, is Sister Ian Octopus? She's so fast. She's really good at planning. Damn it. If I had such a brain, would I still fail my math exam? Do you guys feel that the other chefs are cooking so slowly? Xianxia has already cooked a few dishes, but they're still making cold dishes. I didn't notice it before you mentioned it, but now that you mention it, it's really... they're not as fast as Xianxia. In order to regain his position in front of everyone, the head chef said with a cold expression, "You two choppers, hurry up, don't dilly-dally." Although he was urging, he didn't forget to remind Xianxia, don't blindly pursue speed. After all, we're a high-end private restaurant, and the dishes must be exquisite. If you cook in a big pot, the customers will be very disappointed. The head chef was still very confident in his seasoning and plate presentation skills. After all, he had been doing this for decades, and he had some real skills. However, when 2 cooks came over to serve the dishes, they each brought one for him and one for Xianxia. Coincidentally, both of them were making a salad with assorted vegetables, and the dishes they chose were similar. They both included tofu skin, carrots, potatoes, cucumbers, enoki mushrooms, lotus roots, and other ingredients. The head chef's plate presentation was arranged in a circle, and each dish took up a spot. He even used carrots as decorations. Although it was exquisite, but the aesthetic was slightly rustic. Xianxia arranged the dishes in a Tai Chi pattern. The ingredients on the bottom layer were shredded, while the ingredients on the top layer were diced. Peanuts and sesame seeds were sprinkled on top. It was simple, but it was ingenious. For some reason, it looked better than the head chef's dish presentation. This little girl is quite pretty. Yeah, the colors match so well. It's so harmonious. Everyone admired the strong, and the chefs were no exception. They couldn't help but praise Xianxia. This compliment angered the head chef. What do you know? Do you work with your hands or your mouth? Hurry up and cook. Everyone immediately fell silent. However, by the time the chef had finished his 3rd dish, Xianxia had already finished her 6th dish. She also made some soy milk boxes and pudding and put them in the fridge for dessert. Xianxia calculated that the dishes were enough for a while, so she poured a pot of oil and started to make fried chicken. When she first started making the cold dishes, she had already marinated the chicken. Flour, starch, egg, honey, and other ingredients were mixed well. She threw the tender and juicy chicken into it, rolled it around, and soaked it in the oil. Sizzle. The unique sound of explosives was transmitted to everyone's electronic devices through the top-notch sound recording equipment. Chapter 725. The audience was going crazy. I'm swallowing my saliva like crazy. She's releasing poison in the middle of the night. I was planning to go on a diet, but I've already opened some perverted apps. I'm different from you guys. In addition to the fried chicken, I've also ordered barbecued prawn shell and milk tea. At this moment, the first batch of fried chicken was almost done. Xianxia scooped out the fried chicken with a colander. The skin was crispy and light yellow, and the camera zoomed in on it. The grease could even be seen dripping off bit by bit. Everyone, how is this a lifestyle variety show? This is a food variety show. After drying the fried chicken in oil, Xianxia fried it a second time. This time, the color of the fried chicken turned into an appetizing golden yellow, and the skin became scaly. It looked even more delicious than the ones bought from fast food restaurants. Xianxia used a large wok to fry a lot of fried chicken in one go, and she got someone to bring it out. In the courtyard, perhaps by coincidence, Xu Xinglan and Rin Daozhong sat together. The two of them talked about swordsmanship for a while, and it seemed that they were kindred spirits. Xu Xinglan held his little wife, the spare sword in addition to the broken one, and said seriously, "In this world, nothing is more important than my sword." The audience in the live stream automatically interpreted his words as, "In this world, nothing is more important than my wife." Then, the fried chicken was served. The domineering aroma instantly silenced the noisy courtyard. Even the Taoist masters, who were usually indifferent to good food, suddenly felt a little hungry at this time. Xiang Feng laughed wildly. "Our little bunny is so obedient." He picked up a large drumstick and handed it to Shiryu, as per the usual practice of the Xiang family. The little boy took it, feeling a little flattered as he stared at it in a daze for a long time. He took a whiff almost greedily. "It smells so good." Xiang Feng put the other drumstick into the rice bowl in front of him. A glutton's soul. A glutton needs a basin to eat. A life without a bowl of rice is a life without a soul. Rin Daozhong chuckled and took out his own wok. The two of them looked into each other's eyes, and suddenly there was a feeling of a hero cherishing another hero. Hee, my brother is steady. He's comparable to my third son. Ah, so there are people in this world who have the same thoughts as me. He was not alone in this Tao. As for Xu Xinglan, the hand that was holding the sword couldn't help but tremble slightly. Damn it. Why is Miss Xiang's fried chicken so tempting people to commit crimes? In particular, Xiang Feng, who was sitting at the same table, had already begun to eat heartily. A certain domineering CEO had no care for his image. His mouth was wide open, and with one bite, half a drumstick was gone. Crack! Under the crispy skin was the tender and juicy chicken meat. The combination of the two created a simple little happiness. Xianxia also used the condiments in the kitchen to prepare ketchup, honey mustard, sweet and spicy sauce, sweet and sour sauce, garlic sauce, and several other sauces to satisfy everyone's needs to the greatest extent. The piping hot fried chicken dipped in sauce really tasted amazing. Even if it was junk food, he would accept it. How could delicious junk food be called junk food? It was called happiness. Xu Xinglan desperately used all his self-control to resist the temptation of the fried chicken. However, the ice coke that Xianxia brought over was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The young man couldn't hold it in anymore. He subconsciously let go of his sword and grabbed a chicken wing. Ow! Chapter 726. The young man's concubine fell to the ground. The people at the same table looked at him in surprise. This kid, didn't he just say that swords are the most important thing? Xu Xinglan's five senses were all focused on the fried chicken. The young man's eyes went from shock to daze. The crispy skin, tender meat, and hot fried chicken paired with cold cola were so delicious that it made him want to swallow his tongue. There was actually something in this world that was more blissful than collecting wives. Xu Xinglan felt as if a mysterious door had opened in front of him. The netizens also saw the process of him smelling good and smiled. Brother has vividly shown us what it means to go from resistance to surrender. Xu Xinglan. I didn't want to eat and drink. She gave me too much. Are you sword cultivators all so casual about throwing your wife away just like that? This is simply abandoning his wife and child. Sigh. Is this the distortion of human nature or the decay of morals. The lights were gentle, and the courtyard was filled with a fragrant aroma. The bluestone tiles in the courtyard were as clear as water. Occasionally, the wind would blow and blow a few petals off the trees. Even if they fell into the vegetables, it didn't dampen the mood. Xianxia sipped her cola and secretly used a pair of tongs to pick up a piece of ice, but her wrist was grabbed by a pair of warm hands. "Your period is coming soon, isn't it?" Shui leaned against the back of the chair and bent his long legs lazily. "Didn't Sister E say that ice is cold, so we should eat less?" Xianxia was a little guilty, but she was still stubborn. "Chili is hot. I'll eat more spicy food later to neutralize it." Shui raised his eyebrows. "Oh." He didn't say much and simply stared at Xianxia with a faint smile. His entire silhouette seemed gentle under the light, but it couldn't hide his sharp and fierce aura. The ice melted slightly, and a few drops of water dripped into the small bucket. "Sigh, this is the trouble of being in love, right?" Xianxia thought to herself. She felt that there was one more person controlling her now. The little girl reluctantly let go of his hand. "I'll drink room temperature," she whispered, her voice a little muffled. Shui rubbed her little head and turned off their microphones. She leaned over to the girl's ear and whispered a few words. His hot breath lingered on the girl's milky white neck, and his thin lips were almost touching the girl's reddened collarbone. This scene was enough to make the untimely couple fans go crazy. I announced that they have consummated their marriage. It's born. It's a big fat boy. Bullshasters T, I was there. She's clearly a cute little girl. Help! The fans have turned into idiots and are showing signs of spreading from person to person. No one knew what Shui said, but Xianxia blushed from her collarbone to the tips of her ears. Once the distance between them was increased, the young girl's soft white fingertips lightly pinched his ears twice. It was so hot. Shui's words kept repeating in her mind. Xianxia felt sweet, but she was so shy. The uncle next door suddenly said mysteriously, "Does everyone know that if you eat fried food often, your face will get pimples?" Perhaps because he was too serious, everyone at the table subconsciously became serious as well. Pimples. Shut up. Blisters from excessive heat. Even the viewers in the live stream curiously joined in on the speculation. All of their curiosity was piqued. Xianxia let out a cheerful squawk. "Of course it's a smile. Haha, everyone was speechless. Seems like there's nothing wrong with it." Chapter 7:27. Today's live broadcast ended amidst laughter and cheers. The Taoist masters had their wishes fulfilled. After dinner, they bid farewell to Xianxia one after another. Before leaving, Taoist Master Ren specially added Xianxia into their group chat. Dozens of added messages appeared on Xianxia's phone. She accepted them one by one. Her phone buzzed for a long time before it returned to silence. She rubbed her sore eyes. After some treatment, her myopia had recovered, but it would still hurt after looking at electronic products for a long time. "Don't rub it." Shui held her hand and pulled her into his arms. He gently massaged the little girl's temples with his fingers. Xianxia closed her eyes and couldn't help but moan in pleasure. A certain best actor paused for a moment before returning to his normal pace. At the side, Xu Xinglan was still eating fried chicken. This child had eaten so much that her stomach was bloated. Shui looked at Shui and Xianxia curiously. The way they interacted was a little strange to him. His parents didn't have a good relationship. Children shouldn't always watch others show off their affection. Xianxia patted Shuyu's shoulder and said in an experienced tone, "Otherwise, you'll only be a single dog when you grow up." Shuryu asked innocently, "Grandpa, why don't you find a grandma?" Xianxia sighed. "You don't understand. I clearly want to find one, but every time I see a girl, I don't want to socialize. Wanting someone to accompany him, but also wanting to be alone. This was the trouble of modern adults." Shuryu said, "Grandpa, have you ever thought that your thinking is too narrow? Why do you have to have requirements about gender?" Xianxia, question mark. "A child's words carry no harm." "It must be a child's words," Shuryu continued. "It's also possible that someone else has a request, but Grandpa, you didn't fulfill that request." Xu Xinglan chewed on a chicken wing and puffed up her cheeks. "Little brother, What you said makes a lot of sense. Xianxia. Were all the little brat's words so hurtful these days? Every blade was stabbing into his heart. Do you believe that I'll spank you? Xianxia rolled up his sleeves angrily, but when he saw the muscles on Shu Xinglan's forearm, even though he was skinny, he looked strong. Xianxia silently pulled his sleeve back up. Don't misunderstand. He wasn't a coward. Follow your heart and let nature take its course, understand. The production team held a meeting, and after the meeting, Li Jinyu came to the courtyard with a small notebook and briefly told Shui and Xianxia about the guests that weekend. The two big names that we've invited this time were something that we've fought hard to get. One of them is a legendary singer, and the other is an international dubber. However, there are rumors that the two of them are not on good terms. This week's live stream might not be easy to do. I'll have to trouble Sister E and Daddy Sure. The two of them expressed their understanding. After talking about some topics related to the program, Li Jinyu looked at Xianxia. After all, Xianxia was the big boss of Xianxia livestream and the biggest sponsor of Two Under One Roof. Li Jinyu felt the need to suck up to his boss. President Xiang, do you have any objections? Xianxia wiped his mouth and revealed the standard devilish smile of a domineering CEO. Do you have enough money to spend? Li Jinyu, it's enough. With Sister E around, we save a lot of money. Save what money? Spend it. Don't come looking for me if you can't spend it all. Li Jinyu. Huh? Using money to insult me? So what? In the next second, his loud and cheerful voice sounded in the courtyard. Okay, thank you, Daddy. Chapter 728. Everyone couldn't help but laugh at Li Jinyu's obsequious behavior. The crew of Two Under One Roof was basically made up of young people, and the atmosphere had always been good. They also had a strong and unshakable core cohesion. Sister Yi's cooking. Other variety shows had a lot of staff turnover, but the crew of Two Under One Roof almost never changed jobs. No one could poach them. Other variety shows are also speechless. We've already offered such a high price. You guys should at least be tempted. Is Xianxia's cooking really that good? Everyone got into a car and rushed to Little Rabbit Farm. The moment Xianxia got into the car, a familiar notification sounded in her mind. Ding! The girl raised her eyebrows and communicated with the system in her sea of consciousness. The little system had probably been holding back for too many days and finally couldn't help but issue a mission to Xianxia. Host, please conquer the male lead as soon as possible. Not only do you have to win his heart, but you also have to get his body. Due to the restrictions of the rules, after Xianxia turned on the shielding mode, the system couldn't speak unless it issued a mission. Although that person had told it not to communicate too much with Xianxia, it was really bored. Xianxia was speechless. She increasingly suspected that the system wasn't very serious. In fact, she already had a guess in her mind, and Xianxia felt that it was infinitely close to the truth. She lowered her long black eyelashes and asked, if I can't complete it, will I be obliterated like Lingyi? Her soul, which was also her consciousness, would completely disappear. That was the cruelest punishment. The little system felt a little guilty. Did she find out something? However, the words it said were very official. Host, please take the conquering mission seriously and don't slack off. Xianxia leaned against the back of the back seat and said slowly, what should I do? I don't think I can do it. The little system subconsciously said, how can that be? According to the test, the male lead's affection for you has already reached 100%. Not to mention getting his body. He won't hesitate even if you ask him to cut his heart out. Sai, you don't understand. The girl's tone was downcast. I just can't get over the hurdle in my heart. Maybe his misogyny has infected me. What? Does the host have misogyny? The little system couldn't understand how Xianxia got such a disease, but it was just a data flow after all, even though it had artificial intelligence. However, he was still not a real person. It believed Xianxia's words. Then why don't I discuss it with the main system and give you another mission? The little system coughed. You just have to focus on your career and work hard to become the most popular female celebrity. Here, let's set this as a side mission. It thought that it had thought of the most logical and perfect solution, but Xianxia instantly found a loophole. Is it you? Or is it you guys? The young girl's question seemed to come out of nowhere, but it shocked the little system. If it had a physical body, its hair would have stood on end. The little system was silent for a long time, trying to play dead. It's okay if it's not convenient to talk about it. I just want to ask, is he okay? Woo woo woo, Ishin was so smart. As expected of the gold medal support who had completed all the transmigration missions. It said weakly, he just exists in a different form. Although she didn't give a clear answer, the young girl's eyebrows still curved. That's really, really great. Chapter 729. Upon hearing her words, the system began to tear up again, although it didn't have a nose. Sob, sob, sob. Goddess is so gentle. I actually participated in the plan to deceive her. The little system was rolling around in a sea of numbers. Ah, should I apologize to Yishun? She's such a nice person. She'll forgive me, right? In the manner. Shu Xinglan tagged along, blushing. Although the young man said that he wanted to ask Xianxia for advice on swordsmanship, he understood everything. She didn't expose him for the sake of the Shu family. Xiangfeng led him and Shiyu to the hot spring at Little Rabbit Farm to take a bath. Shui returned to her room to take a shower. As for Xianxia, she had already changed into comfortable home clothes and switched on the television to watch a variety show. She then hugged Xiao Naofu and little Shiji in her arms. All of a sudden, the television began to buzz and black and white static appeared. Afterwards, Xianxia sensed that someone was contacting her in her sea of consciousness. She closed her eyes and focused her thoughts. At the same time, she also allowed herself to fall asleep. In the familiar space, she saw a familiar figure. It was a pale and exquisite young man who was as beautiful as an angel. It was Lingyi. He was someone Xianxia knew when she was about to transmigrate. Previously, he had once occupied the body of Lingyi in this dimension to assist Qin Wanyin in her mission. However, he suddenly disappeared later on. Xianxia once thought that he had been erased by the system. However, she later sensed that something was amiss. Xianxia tried several times, but the new system that she had bound herself to gave her too much freedom. It didn't seem like it wanted her to complete the mission as soon as possible. Instead, it seemed like she would never be able to complete the mission. She then thought about what Lingyi had done previously. Xianxia guessed that the system had something to do with Lingyi. However, she didn't expect Lingyi to take the initiative to look for her. Their gazes met gently in the air. The system remained silent and didn't dare to speak. After a long silence, Lingyi said, "Long time no see, sister." Xianxia responded calmly, "Long time no see." Lingyi said helplessly, "I knew you would guess it." However, he also knew that if he used this trick on others, it would definitely be seen through if he used it on his sister. It was only a matter of time. Xianxia asked gently, "Are you okay?" The young man gulped. Perhaps only his sister would care about him. That's pretty good." Lingyi smiled. "Big sis, I lied to you. How are you going to punish me? I think you have your own reasons. Sister, aren't you going to ask what it is? Your matters have nothing to do with me." So cold. The young man shrugged. "It seems that I've been thinking too much. Sister really doesn't care about me." He had planned so much to show off to Xianxia. There would also be a look, I've gotten rid of the main system. Am I awesome? This kind of mentality. But in the end, Xianxia didn't care about this so-called system at all. Xianxia looked at him. "Will you be discovered?" Lingyi's dim eyes suddenly lit up. "Sister, are you worried about me?" Xianxia said helplessly, "We've known each other for a while. I don't want to see you get erased." Lingyi said confidently, "No." He emphasized, "Absolutely not." He walked toward Xianxia. His appearance changed little by little until it finally settled on a young man with black hair and tea eyes. He looked somewhat similar to Lingyi, but he was more dazzling and arrogant. Chapter 730. Very soon, Xianxia understood what the little system meant by existing in a different form. Lingyi raised his hand. His forearm, which was supposed to be ethereal like a soul, had turned into a piece of data made up of numbers. Xianxia's expression changed slightly. "Although you've already guessed it, I still want to tell you how powerful I am now." Lingyi behaved like a child, showing off his toy to those close to him. "That's right. I've turned into a piece of data, or rather, a program. Every transmigration system's wish was to turn from a program into a physical body. However, Ling Yi had done the exact opposite. He had turned from a physical body into a piece of data. Xianxia did not comment on his choice. After all, she was not Ling Yi. She did not know what he had experienced, what kind of environment he was in, or what kind of mood he was in. Why do you insist on existing in a human form? Ling Yi's body kept changing. In this space, he had absolute control. His arms were like those in sci-fi movies. They turned into the body of a furry animal, the outer shell of a cold mecha, and some kind of liquid that glowed with the luster of stars. The current me has the right of a god. I can exist in any network in a myriad of planes. Ling Yi's lips curled into a frivolous smile. Even the main system can't kill me. Xianxia gasped in amazement. He had actually thought of such a thing, and it had actually come true. You're very powerful. You're a genius, Xianxia commented. Ling Yi was not satisfied with her mere numbers. He tilted his head as if he was acting spoiled, and his eyes curved beautifully. Sister, if you want, I can help you. Thank you, but there's no need. Xianxia was not moved by his offer. I feel that the way I am right now is very good. She had a family and a lover, and she was living a peaceful and stable life. Ling Yi's smile disappeared, and he carefully sized up Xianxia. The girl's expression was magnanimous, without any pretense. Ling Yi mocked himself. His sister had a choice, but he had no choice. It's fine. Since you're not interested now, I won't mention it. When you change your mind, you can contact me at any time. However, Xianxia thought of another question. That mission is related to the main system, or did you just randomly post it? Ling Yi winked mischievously. Does Big Sister think that I'll hand you over to another man? Are you the legendary oily being in the human world? Ling Yi gritted his teeth and lowered his head dejectedly. Initially, he thought that it would be useful to study some romance novels. Who would have thought that it would backfire? He muttered, I didn't do it. It was indeed released by the main system. But it doesn't matter if I can finish it or not. The plane you're in now is equivalent to a single-player game. Because I've taken advantage of the loophole, the main system won't realize that we've gone offline. So that was the case. However, she still had a question. Is my world really a book? Well, that depends on what elder sister thinks. To Big Sister, this is your world, but to others, this is a book. There is no conflict between the two. Xianxia was deep in thought. After a moment, she said calmly, You go surfing. I'm leaving. Bye-bye. She ended the dream and opened her eyes. At a glance, she saw the man in a black bathrobe looking at her with a faint smile. Chapter 731. The warm lights flowed like water pouring down in torrents. Xianxi's heart skipped a beat, but she forced herself to remain calm. Are you done showering? As soon as the words left her mouth, she regretted it. Why did it feel weird? Shui rested his elbows on the sofa cushion and took off his sunglasses. His peach blossom eyes were darker than the night outside the window as he stared unblinkingly at his little bunny. Xianxia was a little embarrassed by his stare. She picked up Xiao Naofu and stood between the two of them, as if this was the only way to feel safe. Xiao Naofu's icy blue cat eyes widened. Meow, meow, meow. Is this Hohu a tool tiger? Shui raised his hand and scratched Xiao Naofu's chin twice. Xiao Naofu's heart refused, but the dogman's stroking was too comfortable. The kitten even began to snore. This was the peak of a tiger's life. Not long after, Xiao Naofu softened into a puddle of cat biscuit and lay in Shui's arms, calling out coquettishly, Meow, meow. Xianxia, did you fall asleep just now? Shui was multitasking and naturally found a topic to talk about. Xianxia nodded. Ahem, you forgot to fix your collar. Let me help you. Shui was wearing a black silk bathrobe. The style was loose, but his belt was loosely tied, which resulted in his collar was mostly open, revealing his fair skin from his collarbone to his chest. Xianxia was like a worried mother fan. She raised her hand to fix Shui's collar, afraid that his skin would be exposed. Her slender wrist was clasped by the man's large hand, and a steady stream of heat was transmitted to her. Shui chuckled. How do you know if I forgot or did it on purpose? Xianxia froze for a few seconds before gradually coming to her senses. Her face instantly burned. Did her boyfriend mean that he did it on purpose for her to see? Shui looked at the little girl's flushed cheeks, and her head was almost smoking. She lowered her voice, as if she was bewitching a demon, but also as if she was purely discussing scientific knowledge. Do you want to know what abdominal muscles feel like? Boom! To little Bunny, this was simply beyond the limits of her shyness. She was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on as she shrunk to the other end of the sofa. No, I don't want to, she said in a tone that did not mean what she said. However, Shui still asked slowly, You really don't want to? Ugh. Xiao saw that the stupid woman's face was as red as a shrimp and was very puzzled. Weren't they just abs? What's the big deal? This hoo-hoo will touch it for you. Hence, she lifted Shui's bathrobe with her furry paws and pressed them on his well-defined abs. Meow. Xiao poked it curiously. Hey, it's completely different from a stupid woman's fragrant and soft body. Sister E, it said that pets follow their owners. You cat are acting like a hooligan. Shui said with a lazy smile. Xianxia waved her hands repeatedly. No. Xiao, let go. In a moment of desperation, she blurted out, all of them. Shui's dark eyes narrowed. Xiao, however, became playful. First, it pretended to obediently move its paws away. They curiously pressed below the abs. Meow. Why my paws feel hot? Xianxia grabbed the blanket next to her and covered her head. Shui's expression did not change. She picked up the kitten and slowly brought it in front of her. Do you want Big Brother to kiss you? Xiao frantically fluttered in the air. Meow, 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 meow. Don't King, come over. Chapter 732. Xiao resisted desperately, but the instigator, Shui, had a lazy and playful look. His eyes were dark, his lips were pale, and his jawline was smooth and clear. His perfect and noble face was getting closer and closer. Smack. It was imprinted on Xiao's forehead. Xiao let out a humiliated roar. Woof, 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 woof. I'm dirty. After kissing the kitten, Shui released its grip. Xiao seemed to have suffered a huge blow as it looked at Xianxia aggrievedly and barked twice. Xianxia wanted to hug it, but the kitten shook its ears, afraid that the dog would take revenge on it again. It scurried away with its chubby little legs. Little Shiji barked and chased after them anxiously. Not long after, the cat and dog disappeared without a trace. They had no idea where they had gone to hide. Xianxia was puzzled. Did Xiao hate me? Little did she know that a certain hoo-hoo was really scared. All the gifts of fate had been secretly marked with a price. This is the price of being molested by a dog. Is it angry with me? Xianxia began to reflect on her actions in the past few days. Every day, she would cook delicious cat food for Xiao, provide it with some snacks, play with it for an hour, and coax it to sleep at night. She would also tell it stories, watch cartoons, listen to music, and so on. Was she not good enough? Children have grown up and have their own little temper. Shui said lazily, his hand wrapped around Xiao's slender waist. With a little force, he easily pulled her into his arms. Their posture changed to that of a tall man hugging the slender girl from behind. Xianxi's ears began to burn again, but she didn't push him away. Raising children doesn't seem to be that easy. Not only did she have to pay attention to her diet, but she also had to pay attention to her mood. Don't raise them then, Shui said. Xianxia turned around and asked, Don't you like children? I only like Xianxia. Xianxia bit her lips at the sudden words of love. Then, she boldly put her arms around Shui's neck. Her soft voice trembled slightly, but it was firm and brave. I also like Shui. Was this a mutual confession? After Xianxia finished speaking, she couldn't help but bury her face in Shui's collarbone. The soft flesh on the back of Shui's neck was completely red. Shui patted her back and comforted her gently. Xianxia adjusted her emotions, and soon, the girl returned to her usual calm and steady appearance. I'm a transmigrator with a gold medal as support. What does a few words of love count for? The little girl comforted herself in her heart. Then, with a taut face, she said in shock, "You said it last night? Let's begin." In the courtyard of the private restaurant, Shui turned off the microphone and said a few words to her. That is, the two of them watched a movie together, the kind where they held hands the whole time. In order not to be disturbed, Xianxia had an idea. "Let's watch in my room." There was a projector installed in her bedroom. When it was turned on, it could project the entire wall. Shui, who originally wanted to tease the little rabbit, swallowed hard. "That's not very appropriate." "Yeah." Xianxia hit her forehead and said in annoyance. "What if I do something to you?" Shui was confused. The temperature of the air continued to rise, and there was a faint ambiguity. The man's low laughter was slightly hoarse. When it entered her ears, it caused a slight itch and tugged at her heartstrings. "Sister Eo, I'm bold. I'm not afraid." Chapter 733. Xianxia didn't know if she was possessed, but by the time she woke up, she found herself lying on the bed in her bedroom. But beside her, there was another person. The projector was playing a classic horror movie. Unfortunately, the two of them were mentally strong, and the movie didn't achieve the desired effect at all. Xianxia wrapped the small blanket tightly around herself. She felt uncomfortable. She slept with Xianxia every day, but the feeling between a kitten and a man was really different. It felt like her territory had been occupied, and it was full of oppression. There was a distance between the two of them, but their hands were holding and their fingers were intertwined. Xianxia gently scratched Shui's palm. Their eyes met, and time seemed to have stopped. The lights were extinguished, and only the light from the curtains spilled down. Frame by frame, the light moved like twinkling stars. Xianxia licked the corner of her mouth, which was inexplicably dry. "Should I meet your parents?" In the girl's mind, dating was a matter between two people, but it should also be approved by both parties' families. Come to think of it, Shui had already met several of her brothers. Needless to say, he had also met her grandparents. However, she knew nothing about Shui's family. Shui was silent for a moment before whispering, "My family had some changes. After that, my father chose to die. My mother was traumatized and is still recuperating abroad." Xianxia was stunned. She had heard that there was a change in the Shui family, but she didn't know it was so cruel. "I'm sorry." The girl couldn't bear it. Shui continued. "As for the generation before me, I'm not very close to them. I rarely go out with them except during the New Year. I've never mentioned it because I think it's not worth mentioning. Secondly, I'm worried that you'll dislike Sister E. After all, our family isn't as close as yours." The relationship between the Shui family members was very indifferent, and Shui had long been used to it. Xianxia looked into his eyes. "I won't dislike you, never." Shui was speechless. The young lady was always so sincere in front of him. He raised his hand to cover his eyes and said with some difficulty, "Sister E, I'm not as good as you think." Cough. "I secretly bullied Xianxia. Is it right?" "You know?" Xianxia turned over and got closer to him. Her clear eyes were filled with gentleness. "I've always known." Shui moved his hand away, a trace of astonishment on his face. His thick and long eyelashes fluttered twice. "Doesn't Sister E hate it? How could this be?" Xianxia smiled. "I like your gentle look, I like your pitiful look, and I also like your green tea look. You're so cute, so I really like it too." Shui's Adam's apple moved slightly. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. "I just like you the most." The young lady blushed and tried to burrow under the blanket like an ostrich. However, Shui held her tightly, not allowing her to retreat. His voice was hoarse. "Say it again." "No." His warm fingertips stroked her earlobe and gently rubbed it twice. As he wished, he saw that her little ears were completely red. "Good girl, Sister E." His moist and hot breath enveloped her. Little by little, it attracted a dense electric current that exploded on her nerve endings. Coax me him. Chapter 734. The movie was still going on, but no one was paying attention to the content. It had completely become background music. The distance between them was close, and the atmosphere was ambiguous. The girl's beautiful doe eyes were filled with tears. She couldn't remember how many times she had been forced to say, "I like you" the most. The little rabbit was so shy that she was trembling slightly, and her fingertips and toes were curled up unconsciously. Shui caressed her cheek and kissed her again and again, gently and lovingly. The feeling of touching each other was wonderful and touching. Shui. The girl was so sleepy that her eyelids were drooping, and she called out to him in a soft voice. "You have me in the future." His heart felt as if it had been hit by something. It didn't hurt, but instead it felt as if it was wrapped in soft and warm cotton candy. It was filled with sweetness. It was as if all the regrets, darkness, and bigotry had been redeemed at this moment. The gray haze dissipated, and in his eyes and heart, there was only the gentle and soft girl in front of him. She had fallen asleep. Her fingers were still unconsciously grabbing the corner of his shirt. Perhaps because she had been bullied too hard, the girl's eyes were slightly red. Shui gently wiped her eyes with his fingers and replied softly, "Yes, I love you, and only you." It was late at night on this side of the ocean, but the sun was rising on the other side of the ocean. A Chinese director, Wuxia, yawned as he raised his head from a pile of manuscripts. He looked particularly haggard after staying up all night. It's finally done. His new movie was in the midst of filming. It was a standard Western commercial blockbuster style, but it had integrated traditional Chinese elements. The collision of Eastern and Western cultures created a strong chemical reaction. Just a few leaked photos had been released, and the mainstream media had already concluded that this would be the best-selling movie of the year internationally. However, outsiders didn't understand Wuxia's pain. How to combine business and art was a difficulty that every director would encounter. The initial filming of the movie was very smooth, and it had been gradually getting better. However, he had encountered some difficulties recently. He had integrated kung fu elements into the movie and wanted to design a traditional Chinese swordsman with a chic and classical feel. However, the martial arts director's several versions did not meet his requirements. With limited funds, Wuxia couldn't be stuck here forever. He was now faced with a choice. Should he make do, or should he persist? He looked at the messy storyboard and drank the coffee that was left in the cup. It was already cold, and the bitterness made him frown. Forget it. Let's relax for a while. Wuxia took out her phone and refreshed her social media app. She scrolled down her list of followers and liked them from time to time. When he saw an official account of the Huan Nation, his fingertips suddenly paused. Martial arts. Stopping war is martial arts. Martial arts is the art of self-cultivation. Kung Fu? Wuxia's interest was piqued. She clicked on the video below. What came into view was a dojo. Wuxia's first reaction was, the decoration taste was terrible. The nondescript antique style was simply an aesthetic disaster. But soon, his attention was attracted by the young boy and girl in the video. The two of them each held a wooden sword. Not to mention anything else. Just their appearance alone was pleasing to the eye. Yan, controlling Wuxia, was greatly satisfied. In the next second, the two of them started fighting. Wuxia's eyes went from relaxed to shocked, and then to surprised before he finished watching the video. He stood up and dialed his assistant's number. "Book me a ticket to Huan Nation. Immediately." Chapter 735. At the same time, the internet was still bustling with activity late at night. Netizens were surfing the internet, commenting on national affairs, teasing celebrities about their scandals, complaining about their weird leaders, and sharing their beautiful daily lives. When the netizens saw a post posted by the official daily newspaper, everyone's reaction was similar to Wuxia's as they curiously paused their fingertips. Martial arts. Stopping war is martial arts. Martial arts is the art of self-cultivation. People who practice martial arts should have a strong physique, internal and external cultivation, and have both virtue and martial arts. Xianxia, who loves to practice swordsmanship. These two young people show the elegance of martial arts, promote traditional culture, and don't forget their original passion. Only then can they achieve great success in martial arts. Everyone clicked on the video of the battle between Xianxia and Xu Xinglan. The video had been edited, and it was obvious that it was the work of a big shot. The camera switching, the color of the picture, the background music, and the rhythm of the storyboard were all top-notch. It was comparable to an official documentary. In this video, the swordsmanship of China was displayed in an artistic manner. At the end of the video, the wooden sword was broken and Xianxia immediately withdrew her sword. The screen turned black and 2 lines of captions appeared frowny face since coming out of the cave. There is no need to show mercy. Virtue is the most important. Courtesy is the most important. Harmony is the most precious. And sincerity is the most important. A sense of shock hit them in the face. Countless people were stunned for a while before coming to their senses. They couldn't help but watch the video for the second time. Oh my God, I feel like I've regained the hot-blooded feeling of reading Wuxia novels when I was a child. Sister E is so polite. She didn't press the advantage and instead stopped when it's time to attack. This is the spirit of Chinese martial arts. This must be a fake fight, right? Can she really fight at such a level? Does China really have kung fu? This is unbelievable. After the passers-by were done lamenting, they suddenly realized, what the F***, CK? Xianxia is being praised by the official media again. How many times has it been? It was rare for other artists to be praised even once. None of them were like Sister E, whom the official media couldn't wait to praise every day. It was like an elder showing off to his relatives how outstanding his child was during the new year. Because of the content and the quality of the production, this video quickly went viral and became extremely popular. In the wee hours of the morning, a blogger brought back news that the video had gone viral overseas. Many netizens praised. Putting everything else aside, Xianxia has really made China proud. Regarding this, the Spicy Tutu girls expressed their opinions. Just so, it's normal, basic operation. Our sister, E, is just an ordinary girl. We don't know why she's so popular. The fans of several A-list female celebrities in the country felt a growing sense of crisis. In the beginning, when Xianxia became popular, it was more like she was an internet celebrity. In fact, people in the industry didn't really recognize her status. But now, she had received the official recognition, which meant that she had a backer. The industry would also re-evaluate her commercial value. It was said that several luxury brands and national brands had already started to contact Xianxia's management team. Invitations for TV series and movie scripts had also arrived like snowflakes. The cake in the market was only so big. Originally, everyone had a piece of the cake, and everything was peaceful. Now that Xianxia had appeared, it wasn't a fight for the cake. He wanted to eat the whole cake. How could he tolerate this? Of course not. Hence, a wave of organized, disciplined, and premeditated attacks began. They avoided the topic of Xianxia's personality and talent, and focused on one thing: frowny-faced Xianxia doesn't have any representative works. Chapter 736. A few A-list female fans had joined forces to form the so-called anti-explosion team, which was not to be underestimated. Unlike the fake reviewers who only knew how to copy and paste, they were very flexible. Some pretended to be fans, some were sarcastic, and some used all kinds of methods to ridicule Xianxia. I've been a fan of Sister E for a long time. Our Sister Yi's masterpiece is the most popular live variety show in the country. Who can compare to her among the starlets in the same batch? As an artist, isn't the most important thing to have in your career? You can't even do your main job well, and you're doing all these fancy side jobs every day. TSK, you're just not doing your job properly. The phrase, although I smoke, drink, and perm my hair, I'm a good girl, is similar to although I don't have any movies, TV dramas, or music, I'm a good artist. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. After taking turns to lead, the effect was indeed remarkable. On the internet, there was a discussion about what kind of artist is qualified to be an artist. The mainstream view was that as an artist, the most basic thing was to sing, dance, and act well. In addition, because artists were public figures, there were also requirements for morality and artistry. As the discussion went on, the crowd began to take stock of Xianxia. Her professional skills were top-notch, her attitude was professional and polite, and she had a series of representative works and was extremely popular. However, she never acted like a big shot, nor did she accept advertisements. As for requests for selfies and selfies from fans, He would do his best to satisfy them. Since her debut, she had kept herself clean and had not been involved in any scandals with other women. She actively participated in public welfare and never walked the red carpet. Every time she attended a charity banquet, she would donate the highest amount. The more the crowd looked at her, the more they felt that Xianxia was a textbook model artist. All kinds of flattering essays came one after another, leaving the anti-explosion team confused. What? Why are you praising Xianxia? Weren't we scolding Xianxia? They finally understood how painful it was for a language teacher to see an off-topic essay. This child is unteachable. Day and night changed, and the sunlight cut through the mist and shone on the cozy manor. At 8 o'clock, Li Jinyu started the live stream as usual. He first filmed the scene in the courtyard. The courtyard was flourishing with flowers, separated by a fence into another area. Chickens, ducks, and geese swaggered around, chatting with each other from time to time. Li Jinyu muttered to himself. Usually at this time, Sister Yi should have finished practicing her swordsmanship and was cooking. Why was she nowhere to be seen today? There was also Father Shi. He had the habit of running in the morning. By right, he should be back by now. He switched to the camera in the living room and happened to catch Xiao Naofu and little Shiji sleeping together in the kitty villa. The kitten was sleeping on the creamy belly of the Shiba Inu, snoring. Little Shiji hugged it and hooked its tail around it. Immediately, a group of netizens in the live stream were jealous. Not only did I have to eat Sister Yi's dog food, I didn't expect Xiao Naofu and little Shiji to be so lovey-dovey. I'm so jealous. Even Xiao Naofu has little Shiji to sleep with. I'm already in my 20s and still single. The West Axe couple is real. Little Shiji is so domineering. He's hugging Xiao Naofu so tightly. At this moment, a girl under a microscope typed a row of exclamation marks. Damn, am I seeing things? Look at the lower left corner. Xianxia came out of Sister Yi's room. Chapter 737. Everyone took a closer look. That tall, slender, and calm figure was none other than Xianxia. Xianxia. The live stream was in an uproar. Another day of crying over someone else's love. Rounding it off, she should have a child by now, right? I bet 50 cents on twins. Why don't we call them Shimuxiang, Shimuyi? Boo-hoo, I'm not betting on the untimely CP. I'm betting on the TV series Sweet Biscuits. Li Jinyu, who was in the director's office, spat out a mouthful of coffee. What's going on? Have the two of them come to fruition? Or did Daddy Shi take advantage of the dark night to bully Sister Yi? Daddy Shi was such a dog. The possibility of the latter was very high. Li Jinyu was filled with grief and indignation. Sister Yi was so gentle and cute. How could he do that to her? Daddy Shi beat a human. At this moment, Xianfeng yawned as he came out of the room and bumped into Xianxia. Good morning, Sui. Xianfeng's hair was messy like a chicken's nest. He casually brushed it twice, feeling very good about himself. Xianxia nodded calmly. Good morning. Are you and Lanlan awake yet? You have to eat breakfast, don't starve the kids. Xianfeng chatted for a while and suddenly realized that something was wrong. His eyes widened. Yu, why did you come out of my little Xiangyi's room? Xianxia looked like she hadn't slept well. She leaned against the wall lazily and said in a hoarse voice, I had no choice. Sister Yi asked me to sleep in her room. Last night, after Xiangyi fell asleep, he was about to return his room, but as soon as he moved, his little bunny woke up. Later on, Xianfeng's body trembled. What did you say? My little bunny actually knows how to drive a dog. When the live stream viewers heard the conversation between the two, some conservative people expressed their inability to accept it. Girls should be more self-centered. Xiangyi is such a proactive woman. I can't stand it anyway. A group of people shouting that a woman is greedy for a man's body. Once the gender is changed, there will be tens of thousands of comments. Xianxia rubbed the space between her eyebrows and said, I'll go and see if Yu and the others are up yet. Don't even think about running. Xianfeng's hair stood on end as he exploded from a bird's nest into a hedgehog. Where's my knife? Where's my saber? He didn't find the saber, but he did find Xu Xinglan's wife. Cough. wooden sword. Xianfeng wielded his sword like a matchstick, yelling that he wanted to beat up Shui. Creak! Another door was pulled open. Xiangyi rubbed her eyes and looked sleepily at the two people standing in the living room. Morning. Is there anything you want to eat? The little girl's voice was warm and soft. Probably because she was still a little sleepy, her tone didn't sound as calm as usual. Instead, it sounded a little like she was acting coquettishly. Xianfeng was surprised. Why did you come out of Shui's room? The audience in the live broadcast room was also dumbfounded. These two people actually didn't stay in the same room? Xiangyi, huh? Only then did the girl react. She knocked on her hangover head, trying to recall last night's memories. Some images surfaced in her mind after she woke up last night. She dragged Shui to drink. She seemed to have drunk too much and insisted that Shui sleep on her bed. She seemed to have even rolled around on the ground. In the end, Shui had no choice but to sleep in her room. However, a certain black-bellied movie king tricked her into going to his room. Xiangyi, social death was nothing more than that.